It is 6:01. Good morning. I'm Jonathan Shea for the New England Patriots. Outscored the Tennessee Titans 20-0 in the second half on the way to a 36-13 win Sunday at Gillette Stadium. It's the Patriots' sixth win in a row. Despite dealing with a slew of injuries, the Titans trailed by only 3 points at the half, 16-13.
Delay handoff. Hilliard has the first down. 40, 45, 50, 45, 40, 35, 30, 25, 20, 15, 10, 5, end zone. Hilliard has just gone 68 yards. Touchdown, Titans.
For Dontrell Hilliard, that was 68 of his game-high 131 yards rushing. Deontay Foreman had 109 yards rushing as the Titans had 270 yards on the ground, but they were undone by 4 turnovers, including 3 fumbles lost. Titans are now 8-4, having lost 2 in a row heading into the bye week. Fortunately for Tennessee, the Colts lost to the Bucs 38-31. Titans still have a 2-game lead in the AFC South over the Colts, including the head-to-head tiebreaker. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Hoyer, in his 13th year out of Michigan State, takes a knee. Bill Belichick has finally beaten Mike Vrabel. Final score, New England Patriots 36, Tennessee Titans 13.
JMart and Ramon locked and loaded on a Monday, powered by all 4 seasons here on 104.5 The Zone. Will Boling back in with you today, filling in for Jason Martin. Very good morning to you. Alongside Ramon Foster, Jonathan Schaefer, the Titans fall again. And I would like to apologize to the city of Nashville. I have hosted this show twice on a Monday. The Titans have been coming off of 2 losses. They heard I was coming, and they decided, let's go ahead and set this dumpster to flames going into the bye week. What's up, boys?
Hey, that's true, Will.
It's my fault.
It is. People tried to get at Jay, and now when Jay leaves, a losing streak happens. Jay is the good luck charm.
Apparently.
And Vols won both times you've been in, though, hadn't they?
That's true.
So which one am I taking?
I think you know what both of us are taking. There's no doubt about that. Jonathan Schaefer, good morning.
Good morning, Shay.
How y'all doing?
Hey, I'm
tired.
Hard reset for you, boy, man. I'm glad to be back in here. I'm going to be real with you.
Yeah.
I don't see how people did like working at home. I think I get it, but I like being in the studio. I'm glad to be back with y'all. It's fun. My break was probably a day too long, I'll be honest with you.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, it was. I enjoyed it because I needed the downtime, but I was just like, oh, okay, what's next?
Right.
Another day.
You get a little restless towards the end of it?
I understand some people don't do things like they're probably good, well off to where they don't have to work. But if you don't have a routine or something,
Wait a minute.
to do,
like you?
No, I enjoy this, man.
But you don't have to work.
I'll say I do. I'll say I do. I'll say I have to work, okay? But
how deep I gotta dig for you to pipe down.
All right, I see what it is. Titans lose today, and okay, I see it's plenty.
Off and running.
It's my day today, man. But you know what? We'll go ahead, continue with the intro, man. I'm not going to steal your thunder this morning because I am excited to be here, okay?
I'm just glad to have some thunder that's available to be stolen. Great to be back with you. Here again today on 104.5 The Zone.
Your voice kind of sounds like my voice today.
Listen at him.
Yeah, I just got done gargling
croaky.
some marbles this
I
morning.
feel fine. It's just I got the grunge.
I think I might record a 2005 rock album after the show today.
Wide open.
If everyone can. Nope. That's when music stopped being good. So that's fair.
Long before that, Will.
I wasn't alive yet. Doesn't count. History started in 1997. Everything before that was an accident.
97.
All right, let's get to this accident called the football game.
I know, man. Okay.
So, all right, Ramon, if I had told you that the Titans would rush for 270 yards on Friday going into this game, would you have thought the Titans would win?
Classic Titans. I'm talking about early 2000 Titans. Like, they're going to win this one. 100%. Well, Ayers 200 yards from the Titans?
270.
With or without Derrick Henry?
Without Derrick Henry?
That's a dub.
Yeah.
If we rush for that much, that's a dub.
So I'm not going to be, and we're going to open up the phone lines throughout the show today. It's 615-737-1045.
Buddy.
Ramon, I'm not going to be as negative on this performance as many are in this town.
Okay.
Because sometimes you don't coach up to the level that you need to in a win.
Yeah.
Houston Texans, case in point.
Whew.
And sometimes you're just overmatched. And sometimes you play 80%, 90% of the plays well enough to get a win in a hostile environment in difficult circumstances. And the other 10% of plays loses you the football game. That, to me, is what happened yesterday for this Titans team.
I'll say this. We won't do the hot take thing. Of course, that's not what we do here, Will. You're a pro. I'm a pro, I think. Shafe's a pro, we guess. But what we will do is tell the truth about what it was yesterday. It was sloppy. They didn't take advantage of their positioning. They didn't take advantage of the rushing. They didn't. The turnovers, 9 in 2 weeks, that's highly unacceptable. I'm talking about it cannot happen. I know Coach Vrabel and his entire staff would preach that. The fan base yesterday, that was one of the most trending things I saw yesterday as far as the turnovers. And honestly, every week is an opportunity to win. The Texans week, you can't have that game. And then, of course, going to Foxborough, you knew it was going to be something wild and crazy there. And it was 200 and what you say, 70 yards rushing, Will?
270.
And still lose. They took away – well, they did the true bend but don't break New England Patriots type of ball game. And that's worrisome moving forward. I'll say that.
Sure.
I will say that if teams know there's an opportunity to get turnovers, if teams know that there's an opportunity that, look, Ryan Tannehill might go 11 for 21 and only throw for under 100 yards, I think they're willing to bank on that.
Right.
That right there to me is a bad look. And then, of course, when you're without Derrick Henry, when you're without him, everybody has to play their role. It's almost like your franchise quarterback being out. Everybody's got to step up to the plate and get the job done, and that didn't happen yesterday. Again, special teams. Randy Bullock missing those. And I know he's not the only one on it. It looked like the snap hole. I don't know what it was a little bit off, but it was. Sure. Not capitalizing on that. Penalties, just everything that was below the line reared his ugly head again yesterday, Will. And again, on top of that, being shorthanded.
They were really shorthanded. Really shorthanded. Dontrell Hilliard, of course, had an excellent day. 12 carries for 131 and a touchdown, a 68-yard touchdown at the end of the first half. Deontay Foreman, 19 carries for 109. Of course, a big fumble after a 30-yard gain. Mm-hmm. But to me, Ramon, we talked last week when I was on this show about how special teams needed to lead this team to be in the mix late.
Yeah.
Randy Bullock misses a 44-yard field goal. He misses an extra point. And on the first drive of this game, you have illegal motion called on a punt against defensive back Chris Jones, and that allowed the New England Patriots on their first drive of this game to only have to go 9 plays, 37 yards, and 446 to score the first points of the game. Yeah. Titans defense was put in a difficult spot, I think, by the special teams, at least in the first half.
Oh, yeah.
And coming out to start the third quarter as well. 8 plays, 39 yards. They get a field goal because you got a face mask penalty to start the third quarter. So that's 2 big special teams penalties that allow the Patriots to start 10 and 15 yards, I guess 5 and 15 yards closer on their first drives of both halves. Actually, it was closer than 10 yards on the first drive because that ended up being about a 30-yard penalty because they had just made them re-kick it.
Yeah.
So the last time the Titans beat the Patriots in New England, Brett Kern had 4 punts inside the 20 in that wild card game.
Yeah.
Not even close to that. It's not Brett Kern's fault, obviously.
It's not.
But the entire special teams unit, I think, let the Titans down more so than they have in quite some time.
It has, man. And we'll have to bring this up. So are you getting a little bit concerned about the interceptions at this point, too? I know last week, Patrick got a little bullied. We saw that. Vrabel kind of alluded to it without saying it. He said this last week. Well, you got to run your route a certain way and not get pushed off your spot. We understood that was one of the reasons why the interceptions came. Yesterday, another pick, fumbles. I mean, that's concerning. That's right there stuff that you can control. The fumbles, you can control. You know that. All coaches preach that. The interceptions, Tannehill's kind of said that to himself. He's like, every pick has his own story. Well, this story, I'm sure a lot of people are tired of reading right now. You know what I'm saying? Like, that book is kind of old. Can we move on to something different at this point? Because in order to get good towards the latter part of the season, you got to start cleaning up this type of stuff. And yes, it's the bye week, and they should and will address everything they have an issue with, on top of getting some guys back also. But you look at what New England did yesterday and the rest of the schedule, in which we thought, okay, man, they can coast into the playoffs. I don't know if it's going to be much coasting. It sounds like they're going to have to downshift, Will, and continue to keep their foot on the gas.
It's not good. Not good, coming off of 2 consecutive losses, and we will give you your chance to react throughout the show today at 615-737-1045. Plus, we talk with Ian Eagle. He was on the play-by-play call yesterday for CBS. That's coming up at 8:20, and Teresa Walker at 9:20 this morning. As we recap to a crazy weekend in college football, a Tennessee win, but most importantly, and throughout most of the show today, the Titans' second straight loss to the New England Patriots. 615-737-1045 is the number. We'll get to our first calls. Eric will lead us off when we come back. JMart and Ramon, powered by All Four Seasons, right here on 1045 The Zone.
Imagine if the first way we did things was the only way we did them, just because that's the way we've always done them. That's what happens when you sell in your home. You list it, and you have to keep it show ready, because you never know when somebody's going to come by and try to get a quick look at your house. Or you have dozen people marching through your home that may or may not be serious about buying, and this goes on and on until the right buyer comes along. Well, that's all ended now, and it's me, Ramon Foster. And I want to tell you what I did. I went to opendoor.com. I put in my address and home info, and I got an offer back in no time. No listings, no strangers, and no stress. Open Door gives you a real competitive offer in minutes. Simply go to opendoor.com/myoffer and get your free offer. Open Door is the new way to sell without all the hassles of a traditional home selling. You know how much you're getting, and you can decide when you want to close. Go to opendoor.com/WGFX and get your free offer today. That's opendoor.com/WGFX. Offer eligibility varies. Open Door is represented by Open Door Brokerage Inc., license 02061130 in California, Open Door Brokerage LLC, and there's other markets.
guess that's where we're at. We got to buy. We got to get healthy mentally and physically and get back to playing football how we know how to play it, taking care of the football, playing complementary, knowing the details. A lot of things to improve.
Oh, Mike Vrabel plays some golf this week. Hope that man gets some time.
Or go rub somebody's ankle and hamstring.
JMart and Ramon, powered by All Four Seasons, 104.5 The Zone. Will Boling, Jonathan Schaefer, our producer. Ramon Foster with you. Yeah, that man is grumpy after wins.
Yeah.
I would not imagine he is a very happy camper.
Never seen a coach run so briskly into the tunnel as he did yesterday.
Oh, I loved him throwing the challenge flag yesterday, though.
That was great.
Was petty.
Wait, Ramon, speaking of just the violence that we choose in this show, who runs faster to the locker room after games? Mike Vrabel or Baker Mayfield?
Baker?
Okay.
Baker does. Oh, my God. What is
I always know, too, and we're going to get to the phones in a second, 615-737-1045. I always enjoy when there's a big AFC North game on. I'm always locked into Ramon's tweets because I know that he's got time. I know that he's got time for Browns fans and Ravens fans, and it's incredible how you can put those guys 6 feet under on Twitter.com in a win. The Ravens won, and I'm out here thinking, like, Ramon, these guys have families, man. Come on.
I know, but I can pile on those two because Cincy smacked my team yesterday.
Yeah, that's true.
It's hard times are ahead of us, Will.
That's true.
It's like, I guess, being on the plains of Yellowstone. Like, hard times are upon us, man.
Yeah, somebody's about to catch an unfollow for me on Twitter this morning after Yellowstone being spoiled for me at 6 a.m.
So, fam, put all the Yellowstone spoilers in the Zone TV chat this morning.
Don't do Will
as
like
God
this.
is my witness, I will quit.
Don't do Will like this.
To quote
man.
The Office, as God is my... When Kevin's got to walk from the parking lot down the street to Dunder Mifflin. As God is my witness, I will quit. Good Lord. 615-737-1045. We say hello to Eric in Nashville. What's going on, Eric?
Hey, guys. First of all, I just want to say I hope you guys had a fantastic Thanksgiving. I hope all the listeners did, too. I know I did. With the exception of the Titans, of course, my Thanksgiving was great. But just a couple of observations. First of all, certainly, Ramon, as you said, the penalties didn't help. The turnovers didn't help. The special teams, the missed field goal and the missed extra point, that certainly didn't help. We had another injury with Jackrabbit, Janoris, or Bugs, as I like to call him, going down yesterday's game. And hopefully he'll be okay. But here's the two main points I want to make. I wanted to talk about where I thought the main big turning point kind of was still the game for the Patriots and also just the upcoming schedule. First of all, if you remember, we had that second fumble, and the defense held. They punted to us, and we get the ball back deep in our own territory. What happens? Tannehill rolls out, throws an incomplete pass. I think the second down, he runs out of bounds. He picks a few yards. The third time, he runs, tries to pass, and it's incomplete. We had a 3-and-out, had to give the ball right back to the Patriots. Defense had to come back out on the field, and then I think that's where Mac Jones throws the pass to the guy down the sidelines where he tried to force him out of bounds, doesn't get out of bounds. He goes out the sideline, gets a touchdown, made it 26-13, and that pretty much, to me, was the ball game. That was turning point right there. And again, I don't know what the play caller was. The reason why we decided to do that, not run the ball because of the fumble the last series, but we had a 3-and-out, and that killed us to have to put the defense right back out on the field. I think that, to me, was the clincher. And as you said, the schedule now, which a lot of people say it's the easiest schedule in the NFL or maybe in the AFC, doesn't look so easy now with Jacksonville. Pittsburgh's not going to be easy. We got the 49ers who are playing a lot better now. I think they've won now. I think 4 out of the last 5, and they're fighting for the playoffs. And even Miami, which was at one point maybe considered one of the worst teams ever this year. Now look at them. They won 4-0, and they're 5-7, have an outside shot at the playoffs. And then we close out against the Texans, who already beat us once. So that's not so easy of a schedule right now, guys. We're just going to see what happens. Hopefully we can get some guys back after the bye and heal up. I mean, I'm still not giving up. But it's still – I think this is going to be a struggle going down the stretch, so we'll see what happens. But it looks like we may have finally found a running game. Guys, y'all take care. Have a great day, and we'll talk to you again soon.
Thank you, Eric.
Thank you for the call, Eric. Yeah, I think the drive he is talking about, the Patriots to start the second half ran on their first 13 plays, their first 2 drives, they had 43 yards. They get a Nick Folk field goal, and then they go 3-and-out, 5 plays, 4 yards. and they give it back to the Titans. Titans go incomplete pass, scramble for 5 yards, incomplete pass, 48-yard punt. At that point, you felt like this one was getting away, and after that, then you have the Kendrick Bourne 41-yard touchdown reception. But, Ramon, the issue for me was I thought the Titans didn't use the play action enough again. And this is the conversation every single time this team loses. They established the run. The reasoning has been, hey, you don't have Derrick Henry. Play action doesn't have the same effect without Derrick Henry. And that's true. But you rushed for 270 yards, and you still didn't set up anything on play action yesterday.
But, Will, as somebody that's played this team and watched this team do this over and over again, as far as, hey, ooh, piece of candy. Nice, pick that up. Ooh, piece of candy. Next thing you know, you got a rotted mouth and you got to go get a new set of teeth. That's what they did with this team yesterday. They've done us like this. They've allowed my old team, Pittsburgh, go into Foxborough or in Heinz Field and run the ball. And they will say, okay, we'll bend but don't break. They get down to the tight red zone. And that defense always shows up pretty good. You saw that yesterday. I know it was a tip pass, but they get an interception in the tight red zone. That's what New England does. And again, the Derrick Henry effect didn't bother them too much simply because they were okay with giving up one thing. And that one thing was the rushing game. And because of that, they got good tacklers in New England, and they got a very opportunistic defense to where they can get you off the field or get you off schedule like that. What they decided to do yesterday, they said, run it all you want to. We're okay with that. And they were. Think about it. The yards that you got, one of them came with a fumble at the end. The other one came at closer to the end of the half. It wasn't much to come out of those two situations right there as far as the big runs and this team getting over 200 yards rushing. They had 2 100-yard rushers yesterday and still took a L. That's because they took away the air game from him. Tannehill couldn't connect. There was him and his receivers couldn't connect. It wasn't just him. Him, the tight ends, the receivers, the running backs, nobody could connect. You saw there was nowhere to go when the Titans decided to run the screen game. That's because that's one of the biggest bread and butter plays right there. It was a few times where, it was one time in particular where it looked like they were trying to set up a screen, and they were just hovering. The Patriots were just hovering, nowhere to go.
Yep.
That's because they couldn't allow that to happen. They weren't going to allow Ryan Tannehill to have an awesome day, and he did not have an awesome day. He was 11 for 21 with 93 yards passing with 1 touchdown and 1 interception. They took away your best means of winning yesterday, and that was Ryan Tannehill. The run game didn't mean anything to them. I legitimately don't think it did.
No, I think you're right. And honestly, I think a lot of those stats are inflated by 2 runs. A 68-yard run by Dontrell Hilliard at the end of the first half. You can't really establish much play action off of that.
You can't.
Because that's a draw play up the middle.
That's a one-off.
Right. Deontay Foreman has a 30-yard rush. Of course, he puts the ball on the ground at the end of it. So right there, that's 2 carries for 98 yards. Mm-hmm. So then other than that, you are at 172 yards on 37 carries. That looks a lot more manageable if you're talking about the Patriots' perspective. So really, 2 runs you can't really build off of because one of them's a fumble and one of them's a draw play to go into the half.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just one that you hit.
That's what they do. But we knew this was going to be the case, though. It did look like the timing of Tannehill and the wide receivers were a little bit off, and it just they rushed for and they made this offense one-sided. And you would think that one-sided being the run game will equal a win, and it simply just didn't. Well,
you also thought that if the Titans stopped the run for New England, they would have a chance. 24 carries for 105 for the Patriots. Mm-hmm. And Mac Jones has a career high in passing, 310 yards. It's crazy. 615-737-1045 is the number. We say hello to Cousin P. What's going on, cousin?
What's up, Cousin P?
Hey, guys. Good morning. Good morning, man.
Morning.
So I'll say this, man. I'm not normally after we lose, man, especially last week. My goodness, man. I'm not doing terribly well. But today I'm okay. I'm okay with this, especially with the personnel that we brought out into that field yesterday. I really thought the defense held it down, man, especially through 3 quarters. They really provided the best that I think we could have done with the circumstances. Mind you, missing David Long was huge. I think it was Cole that literally had a walk-in touchdown, pick six, hit him right in the hands. David Long gets that pick. David Long takes that ball down the field. It's a different game. Actually not having Bud Dupree out there, we know that he's a huge disruptor, and he's been doing that, and he also complements Harold Landry well. So not having some of our key pieces even on defense yesterday with what we did, I'm satisfied with that. There's some things we got to clean up on offense, man. We finally got the running game started. We had 2 fumbles that probably should have resulted in points. Yeah. So the complexity of the game has changed and even that with the confidence level. I think we put 2 drives together with those fumbles that we had, and it's a different ball game. So I'm confident to say this: when we get our healthy guys back and we see New England again, which we will, we're gonna win that game. We're gonna beat New England. I'm fine with what we got going on. We got 2 weeks to prepare for the Jags, which you shouldn't need 2 weeks. 2 days should be more like it. But for this team right now, 2 weeks is perfect. I think we get the big win, and I think we go into Pittsburgh, and I think we beat them as well. And then we're having a different discussion, guys. Good morning. Happy Thanksgiving to you all. Happy holidays, man. Love you guys.
Absolutely.
And we'll talk to you later.
Stay safe, man.
Appreciate the call. Look, I think we're going to get a lot of that today. I really do. I think there was more anger last week losing to the Texans the way that they did than there will be today.
Yeah.
Today they just looked overmatched yesterday.
Overmatched, but I'll say this though, they were overmatched. And it's because of a lot of injuries and people being out. But the guys looking for opportunities on this team to say, hey, I deserve a spot. Like you said, Hollywood Cole, man, playing in a position yesterday, not just a special team guy. You got to take advantage of the opportunities given to you. You know what I'm saying? And that didn't happen yesterday. And just in general, the stuff that happened on the field, the fumbles, the penalties, the turnovers, like that's stuff that has to be cleaned up. Those are player mono. That's like basic high school stuff right there. That type of stuff cannot happen whatsoever. And the guys that want to, step up to the plate, now is your opportunity. That's one thing about guys being injured is you get this opportunity to say, hey, I am a top 1%er as far as football goes in this world when it comes to the NFL. Sure. And some guys haven't been rising to the occasion right now, and I'm not okay with that. So we'll see what happens moving forward. This bye week came at the right time. It's probably a week or two too late, Will, just being honest with you.
Yeah, for sure.
Looking at this IR list, it's long.
It sure is.
It's real long. Will.
Of course, A.J. Brown joins it over the weekend. We didn't get to talk about that.
We did not.
And he'll miss 3 games now, or 2 games now, the next 2. So Jacksonville and Pittsburgh are the 2 that he's not going to be in for after New England. But you get Julio Jones eligible coming out of the bye week.
Bud right afterwards, I think.
I believe so.
Bud right after. Right now, Cam Batson has the ability to come back, right? AJ, Dane, Cruikshank, Bud. Darrington's done for the year, I think.
Yep. I think Batson done for the year as well.
Batson's done for the year also. Derrick Henry has the opportunity at some point. Chris Jackson, Marcus Johnson's done for the year.
Yep.
Julio gets the opportunity to come back. I think it will be after this week.
Yeah.
So he should be ready to go for Jacksonville.
Should be.
Racing McMath and everybody else is just down for the year, man. A lot of transactions happened this past Friday. What was it, Thursday or Friday also? It was 13 on one day.
13 in one day. Wednesday. Yep.
Jeez Louise.
Yep. Tuesday night going into Wednesday. Jeez. I can't imagine. We're going to talk to Ian Eagle later on in the show.
Yeah.
I want to get his reaction to how you prepare for a game when you have 13 different roster moves on a Tuesday. Because he and Charles Davis alluded to that.
Yeah.
Like they all called each other like,
what is this?
What's going on? NFL is the easiest part about it to broadcast. I'm not going to say it's easy to broadcast, obviously, because nothing is easy to broadcast at that level. But you have so many name brands where you can just look at a guy and know that's A.J. Brown.
Mm-hmm.
That's Julio Jones. And you're not looking at number 16 and thinking, oh, that's Cody Hollister. You know, I know him.
I had no idea who that was, Will. I am bad with that. Cody Hollister yesterday was playing Kevin Hogan. He got some reps yesterday. Is that going to be a concern moving forward too, Will? It was all fun and games we was talking about. It's been 82 players and they're winning. And this is the thing though too. When you win, you hide a bunch of stuff. It's like putting makeup on. You know what I'm saying? I guess, or putting on some new clothes or whatever it is. Like when you win, everything's covered up. Now we start peeling back the layers, and this is a real problem. I have people texting me, asking me that too. As far as, is there something we need to be worried about with the strength and conditioning coach or the training staff? I'm like, you can't necessarily say that.
No, I'd say it's not that simple.
No, it's not that simple.
Right.
I like you said, wish we could point that. You're an athlete, Will. You know that you could be running on your 5th mile of 15, and something weird happens. You step on a pebble or rock or something.
It can be what your nutrition, your off season, it can be you worked with a new guy in your own in the off season, and
and anything
out
can
of whack.
happen. Yeah, so I'm not going to get in that boat and start blaming the staff and stuff like that. Injuries happen, but it's now a concern that it's this many people that you've rotated through. Mind you, didn't even elevate Golden Tate this weekend either.
Right. And a quick thing I want to clarify as well. It's coming on YouTube saying AJ missed yesterday. He'll miss the bye week and the Jacksonville game. Should be back for the Steelers game. That actually is not how it works. It should be how it works. You don't miss 3 weeks. You miss 3 games.
Is it 3 games?
So
I thought the bye
even-
week counted.
it
Even
does
me
not.
as a player,
It
I
does
thought
not.
it counted.
So I saw this
Oh.
discussed on Twitter yesterday.
Sheesh.
You miss the next 3 games, regardless of if there's a bye week in the middle of that or not. So that's the unfortunate part of where the Titans are with A.J. Brown right now. So he will have to miss Pittsburgh as well before he can come back. Ramon, I think a lot of the conversation today is going to be about Ryan Tannehill. We're going to get into that. You kind of mentioned that as the show goes on. Let's quickly get to the phones one more time here in this segment. Let's go to Dan in Hermitage. Good morning, Dan.
Morning, Dan.
Hey, guys. Good morning.
How are you?
Hey, big thing I wanted to just mention was the fact that frustration, yes, really from the way they started out with 3 penalties in the first 3 minutes, that one on the punt that resulted in a 32-yard penalty. I was wanting to ask Ramon, from the standpoint of having played the game, if there's something lacking in preparation that they come out flat like that. I know we've had an issue of not starting fast, but this just seems like 2 weeks in a row that we've just kind of come out very flat, and I don't want to say not prepared, but just making these critical mistakes at the first part of the game. But then I'll end it with this, and I'll hear your comments. Hey, not all is lost because everybody in our division, in the AFC South, lost yesterday. So we lost no ground in that regard. So we just got to get healthy and see what we can do the rest of the season. I'll shut up and listen.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Thank you, Dan.
Thanks, Dan.
Yeah, I think the fact that you still have a Tampa Bay team that beats Indy at the last second and you still have a 2-game lead plus the tiebreaker, that is your silver lining going into the bye week. That is the silver lining. I don't think there's really any other one. But you can kind of talk about the preparation. Let's actually take a break and then get back on this because this is a longer discussion that I think we need to have about the way this team is preparing and the way this team is scheming on offense on the opening drives of games and the issues that we have with that. 615-737-1045 is the number. It's JMart and Ramon, powered by all 4 seasons on 1045 The Zone.
Money.
Baker Birdwell is the disability brokerage that your financial advisors count on to deliver disability income protection. It's one of the least known about insurance coverages. When I ask you, what is your most valuable asset? Most people are going to tell you it's my home. Think again. It is your income. Without that income, you can't supply the house or the car or even the groceries for your family. As a former pro athlete, it wasn't a thought of mine of ensuring my income and career. But the same applies to you as well. Have you considered what would happen if you couldn't continue your career due to health or an injury? For 2 or 3% of your income, you can insure 6% of your income tax-free. You may know about short-term and long-term group disability plans that your employer may provide. But with them paying the premium for you, the benefits you get paid, they are taxable. Could you live off 40% of your income and still provide for you and your family? Because after taxes, that's about what you're going to get from your group disability plans. Disability insurance is one of the most undersold, underutilized, but most needed products. Baker Birdwell is the best resource for financial advisors and insurance agents. They are a trusted friend working with your trusted advisor, and to be sure that you are properly insured. They are local, and they want to see their community be protected. Have you thought about your yearly income times the 15 to 20 years of your life? Your earning potential is not only important to your current family, but your future family as well. Have your financial advisor or agent call Baker Birdwell to talk through the many ways to get you insured or compare your current plan to make sure it's up to date. Bad things can happen to good people. We've seen that this past year. We just want to implore to everyone how important it is to insure your income. Baker Birdwell is here to work with your trusted advisor. You can call them at 615-309-5958 or visit their website at bakerbirdwell.com or simply email them at info@bakerbirdwell.com.
did some really good things. The turnovers, the fumbles hurt us, obviously. You know, we ran the ball extremely well the whole game, had the turnovers, and then, you know, didn't convert when we were down there in there tight there in the early fourth quarter. So you put all those together and you put yourself in a difficult situation.
That is QB1 after another loss for the Titans yesterday, 36-13 to the New England Patriots. Ryan Tannehill completed his first 8 passes, and then after that, it went downhill quickly. 11 for 21, 93 yards, an interception, took 2 sacks, and had 1 touchdown to Nick Westbrook-Akina. JMart and Ramon, powered by all 4 seasons, alongside Ramon Foster. Will Boling back with you, talking about the level of preparation for these Titans going into these games. And Ramon, the caller asking us in the last segment, is there an issue with the way this team is coming out in the first quarter in these games and why they're starting so flat that you can see?
I've been on the team where we had this discussion before. And as a player, you don't really see as far, you know, like, man, we got to get going. Like, you call the plays, we run them. Like, I guess the sequence of not getting a penalty, not having a negative play, getting a first down. That's always big, too, as far as, you know what I'm saying, coming out fast or like you label a team as coming out slow. Simplifying it, which this offense right now has to be the most simple because there's so many different moving parts that you can't make this a complex offense. So I'd say this. Getting a quick completion, running the ball efficiently is something that's got to be done also when it comes to saying, hey, this team comes out flat. And if you can just sustain one drive without a turnover, without a negative play, or even if you end it in a punt, I think, and you win the field game, I think that you find a way to say, okay, we can get our footing in on this one. That's the same thing that goes with the run game. That's the reason I thought this team would do a whole lot better yesterday is because they found the run game. Now, true enough, I think the Patriots were allowing you to run the ball, and they didn't take it as serious because they probably looked at it as like, if we stop 17, we stop Ryan, then we can win this game. And that's pretty much what they did, man. And that was to answer that question. Will, and I'll just say this too, as we coming up on the end of this segment in a little bit too, is that song that we played coming back, Under Pressure. As a fan, are you starting to feel a little bit of it? Mm-hmm. Or is it just bag away? Because some of the stuff and scenarios I saw leading into the weekend about this Titans team was, with all the players that were being down, people were suggesting putting Logan Woodside at quarterback and Ryan Tannehill at wide receiver. I was like, whoa, pipe down. It's not what we're doing right now.
Right.
We're not putting Logan Woodside. You know what I'm saying? Like, that was one of the scenarios, like, when you lose or you feel, you know, man, we're about to get off the rails a little bit, you start to say and think almost anything. But when I saw Logan Woodside go onto this COVID protocol, onto the COVID list, I was just like, oh, this is what we're dealing with. But even still, up until the third quarter,
you
still feel like you were in the show yesterday in New England.
You did. This courtesy of our friend Austin Stanley of A to Z Sports on the 12 opening drives this season for the Titans. You know how many points they have?
10.
10 points.
Oh, for real?
Yep.
Oh.
12 opening drives this season.
Sheesh.
A field goal against the Jets. So a field goal against a college defense. No, they were good at that point. And a touchdown against the Chiefs. 8 punts, 5 3-and-outs, 4 with 0 or negative yards, and 2 interceptions at Indy and at LA against the Rams.
Dang.
Nice. It's not good enough.
My mind, Shafe.
It's not good enough. It feels like Todd Downing is going to the, all right, let's play to win the game plays in his playbook around the end of the first quarter.
Yeah.
And this team is continuously getting outscored in the first quarter now as well.
But
it's the way I remember a Tennessee team that was like this when they came back and beat Georgia that year.
Yeah.
Smoky gray jerseys down by 21. And it felt like, all right, now you're trying to win the game.
Yeah.
Instead of not losing the game. I think, though, that, Ramon, we're seeing the byproducts of this team has one way that it can win games without Derrick Henry.
What's that?
And that's about 16-13.
Dang.
20-17.
That's what the defense.
Ugly.
Defense putting you in a real good position.
It's got to be the way they beat the Rams.
Yeah.
I'm logging off of my life right now.
10 points?
10 points on 12 game-opening drives this season. compounded this one with a penalty that cost you 32 yards on a punt.
Yeah.
The margin for error is about that big for the Titans this year.
It really is.
Without Derrick Henry.
And I didn't want to go that dark, Will, but when you start bringing that up.
Not good.
Not
great, Bob.
It's a fragile
Not great, Bob.
Very fragile situation, man. That's your guy right there. That's very fragile right there, Will.
It sure is. And when we come back, we will get more of your reaction as well to the loss for the Titans yesterday at 615-737-1045. Plus, the coaching carousel has been set ablaze.
Yes, sir.
We haven't even hit those headlines yet. Lincoln Riley, how it affects Tennessee, and a sleepy win for the Vols over Vandy. We'll get into that. Iron Eagle coming up at 8:20. 1 hour down, 3 more to go. It's JMart and Ramon, powered by All Four Seasons on 104.5 The Zone.
This really pisses me off.
It is 7 o'clock. Good morning. I'm Jonathan Shea. For the Tennessee Titans dropped their second game in a row, falling to the New England Patriots 36-13. Pats used 20 second-half points to earn their sixth win in a row. Titans rusher 270 yards on the ground. Dontrell Hilliard had a game-high 131 yards, including a 68-yard touchdown.
Delay handoff. Hilliard has the first down 40, 45 50, 45 40, 35 30, 25 20, 15, 10, 5, end zone. Hilliard has just gone 68 yards. Touchdown, Titans.
His teammate D'Onta Foreman had 109 yards rushing, but the Titans were undone by 4 turnovers, including 3 fumbles lost. Titans are now 8-4, having lost 2 in a row heading into the bye week. Fortunately for Tennessee, the Colts lost to the Buccaneers 38-31. Titans still have a 2-game lead in the AFC South over the Colts, including owning the head-to-head tiebreaker. Nashville SC's outstanding season came to an end in the conference semifinals last night in Philadelphia. The boys in gold lost to the Philadelphia Union 2-0 in penalty kicks after playing to a 1-all tie. And Belmont lost to Dayton 63-61 in the ESPN Events Invitational Championship game in Orlando. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Hoyer, in his 13th year out of Michigan State, takes a knee. Bill Belichick has finally beaten Mike Vrabel. Final score, New England Patriots 36, Tennessee Titans 13.
JMart and Ramon, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors. The Titans finally lose to the Patriots under Mike Vrabel. The first win for New England since Vrabel took over in 2018 over the Tennessee Titans. Alongside Ramon Foster and Jonathan Schaefer, our producer, Will Boling back with you. Mac Jones throws for 310. The Titans rush for 270, and they fall 36-13. The 1 seed in what was something that looked kind of like a pretty good chance a couple weeks ago. Now it's just not going to happen.
Yeah, no. And this stretch that the Titans had that was supposed to be one of the easiest left in the NFL, it's starting to look a little bit different right now, man. Some of those teams are starting to catch a little momentum. And, again, I think the Titans win the AFC South. But when it comes to saying the 1 seed is yours to keep, it's not looking that way right now.
It is gone. It's going to be hard to get back.
Yeah, it is.
Because you lost the tiebreaker to New England. And at this point, it's going to be tough to rebound.
It's going to be real tough to rebound. But yesterday, the Colts lost.
Yes.
Do the Texans and Jags even matter at this point?
Texans blew a 14-3 lead to the Jets. So there's a battle of teams that have beaten the Tennessee Titans.
I don't care that they beat the Titans 2 weeks ago. They're terrible.
They're really bad at football.
They are bad.
Really bad at football. Tyrod Taylor just avoids the typical disasters that happen when he doesn't play.
Yeah.
And right now, that's the recipe to beat the Titans is you avoid disaster.
Mm-hmm.
Don't turn the football over. Don't take sacks. That's one thing the Titans did a better job of again yesterday. Naquan Jones had a really nice play.
Yeah.
Kevin Byard, a free rush up the middle, gets to Mac Jones.
Big.
I saw the Kevin Byard sack. I thought the Titans had a chance. I really did.
It looked like momentum was moving over, didn't it?
Really did. Yep, that was the 5-play, 4-yard drive for the Patriots on their second drive of the second half. Titans, at times, played some pretty good defense in this game, but when special teams lets you down, we talked about this, they only had to go 39 yards for their first scoring drive, the New England Patriots, in this game. As slow as you start, when you couple that with some of the mistakes that they made in special teams, some of the penalties that they had, it's tough to rebound from that at home against a good team, much less rebound from that in New England against the hottest team in the NFL right now.
And I'll say this too. I think the Kendrick Bourne touchdown, I think kind of burned a whole lot of Titans fans yesterday too.
Yeah.
I saw social media erupt yesterday when that happened. Bad tackling, just a big play you're giving up from a guy that nobody knew anything about. This is his 5th year. I didn't even know this, from Eastern Washington. You ever heard of Eastern Washington, Will?
That's the team that has the red field.
Is it really?
They have a red field in their stadium.
It's where Michael Roos went to school.
There you go.
Did not
Former
know
Titans
that.
offensive
Look at you,
tackle.
the
East
historian.
Washington Eagles.
I believe that's right.
Eagles. This is something that is a very large area of knowledge for me. Is mascots of very obscure college football teams. I don't know why.
Learning something new every day, Will.
615-737-1045.
Yeah. No, I was just gonna say, but that was a dagger to the heart yesterday. You couldn't afford that type of play being given up, and also it was a couple plays that Mac Jones just. I see what people are saying. His accuracy, watching an entire game of his accuracy is you got to give it up to the kid.
Yeah.
Byard was on the spot yesterday. I forget who he threw it to. It might have been Jacoby Myers or somebody. Heck, he threw to everybody yesterday on the Patriots team. But Byard was right there, whiffed on the ball in the air because Mac Jones knew how to place it in his wide receiver's arm. And I'll say this too. The Patriots always do something petty. I think that's what Vrabel gets it from also. The targets of Jonnu Smith yesterday.
Man, all day they went to Jonnu Smith, and you knew they were going to also.
And all I can think is, this is for Vrabel taking the timeouts against Belichick last time. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's something like Vrabel does this type of stuff too. Remember in the Bills game?
3 catches for 49.
3 for 49. That might have been his biggest game of the year.
I think it was.
They hadn't really been talking about Jonnu. And here, lo and behold, the first quarter, I think he had like 2 or 3 targets then, and they ended up getting another one later in the game. And all I could do is just smirk. It's like, this is why when you have the opportunity to put somebody's face in the dirt in sports, Will, you do it. Because if they ever get that opportunity, and the Patriots had it yesterday, to get you back, they will. There's no reason to go to Jonnu that many times.
615-737-1045 is our number. We go back to the phones, the Mark Spain Real Estate Hotline. We say hello to Swab Zombie. I don't know what that means. What's going on, Swab Zombie?
Hey, good morning, guys.
Good morning.
The Titans, guys. I am going to go after Byard. That was a perfect pass to the end zone. However, the next play he got busted on, he beat the ball, and he's guessing. He's putting his hands up, good coverage, but he's not looking at the ball. We're seeing this with all of our DBs. He's too veteran to be doing that. The defense, kind of what you just went off of, they were watching. Even Byard, again, was watching him catch the ball on the sideline, assuming he was going to get tackled, and followed up by many of his players. We were not looking good for the second half. And then this is where I want accountability, guys. You touched on it earlier. 10 of 12 on our scripted, planned plays are failed. Our first drives of the game, guys. Think about that for a second. They are scripted. They are planned. OC, whoever our players are on the field, is supposed to put us in the best position to be successful. The running game was working yesterday, guys. Hilliard busted it off. Foreman busted it off. Guess what we did on our next possession? We went 3 and out with passing plays. On the next possession, the Patriots go down and score and basically put a dagger in us.
Yeah.
I want the OC to be held accountable. And understand this, it was a friendly hire that is not helping the team. We are a better team regardless if we have Henry or not. We should be putting more points on the scoreboard, and I want them to be held accountable, guys.
Yeah.
Thank you for the call, Swab Zombie. It's a bad time for Todd Downing to have a couple of flat performances as the OC.
Flat.
It's the best way to describe it. I don't think it's really bad, but he's not winning you any games and scheming up anything super creative or super exotic.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how exotic you can really be with Cody Hollister and Nick Westbrook-Akina. No disrespect to them. They've stepped up. They've done their jobs as wide receiver 1 and wide receiver 2. You're just overmatched right now.
So to Todd Downing's point right here, as far as him, Derrick Henry went out the second Colts game, right?
Yes.
Titans scored 34 points that weekend.
Sound choked up. Yes.
All right. The Rams weekend. They beat the Rams 28-16. Didn't the defense scored then, right?
Yeah, pick 6 for Bayard.
Yeah, pick 6 for Bayard. So take away 7 points. So that's 21 points for this defense. Also got the ball on the short field also. So lo and behold, they still got points. So the offense potentially scored, I think, 21 points against the Rams. Against the Saints, bad team. Defense played really well too. They ended up winning at 23-21. Last 2 weekends, the Titans have scored 13 points offensively. So as far as starting flat, as far as, hey, got to be able to put up points, as far as saying, hey, look, we got to make sure that this offense continually is getting better, and it's not. And true, there are a lot of missing parts on this team. But before Derrick Henry went out, well, the loss to the Cardinals was bad. Only scored 13 points that game. But put 33 on Seattle, put 25 on the Colts, lost, but still put up 24 against the Jets, 37 against the Jags, 34 against the Bills, 27 against the Chiefs, and the last game Derrick Henry played in was 34 points against the Colts. So the creativity, the expansion of Todd Downing's playbook has been kind of, I think it was Dan that called in earlier, and Swab Zombie also. It's been flat as far as getting started, as far as continuing drives or coming out hot on scripted plays at the beginning or the end, at the beginning of a game or at the beginning of the second half also.
When you start 12 games and scored 10 total points, that's a problem with your script right there.
Yeah.
No doubt. 615-737-1045. Let's go to Sean calling in from Kentucky this morning. Good morning, Sean.
Morning, Sean.
Hey, good morning, fellas. Hey, love the show. I just want to. Last weekend, I was in Nashville. I seen somebody throw away their Titans jersey.
What?
This weekend, all I see is the media bashing the Titans. We've never had a smooth season ever with the Titans. If you've been a Titans fan for a certain amount of time, this is us every year. We can't just sweep teams and get it done with. We're playing with practice squad players. We're playing with a quarterback that's morale's down a little bit right now. We're going in a bye week. We're going to come back. There ain't no way in heaven that we're going to lose to the Texans and the Jags coming up. We're going to take our division, and we're going to come up and be Super Bowl contenders. We just need rest. Love y'all, man. Hope you have a good week.
Appreciate you.
Thank you, Sean.
Thanks, Sean.
We have heard a little bit of that this morning. Some of the positive response from Titans fans. 80% of the plays yesterday might have been good enough to win. But that's a problem when your formula was let's win ugly.
Yeah.
You can't afford to lose on 20% of your plays when your only formula to win is win ugly.
That will. Now you struck a nerve with me.
Let's keep this energy.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
When we come back, Chase and Tom will lead us off. We still got a lot to discuss. Lots to unpack from the Titans weekend, their loss to the Patriots, plus the coaching carousel. Iron Eagle, Teresa Walker coming up later in the show. It's JMart and Ramon, powered by all four seasons on 104.5 The Zone.
It's JMart. Here's a few questions you should ask yourself. Is your heating system ready for that colder weather? If you walked outside today, it might be here. It feels like it is here. Is it around 10 years old? Is it providing the best possible air quality for your home? I know you know this if you've been listening to this program. It is time to replace our heating system. If it's time to replace yours, your friends at Lee Company, my friends, making that easier than ever. I want you to call today just like I did. Take advantage of Lee Company's exceptional HVAC financing offer. How about this? Special financing for up to 60 months. That's 5 years or $1,250 off select high-efficiency systems. $1,250 off select high-efficiency systems. Guess what? Some of the prices are set to go up in a lot of the major companies at the start of next year, which means right now is the time to get in. Call Lee Company today. Learn all about their current financing and service special offers and make sure that HVAC, make sure that heating system can handle what's coming. 615-567-1000. That's 567-1000, or visit them online at leecompany.com/promotions.
It's good to beat Tennessee. Obviously, they're a good football team. Got a lot of good competitors, a lot of tough guys there. But proud of the way our guys stepped up. We missed some opportunities in the game, but again, we're going up against a good team, so that's going to happen some.
There's Bill Belichick after his first win over Mike Vrabel in his career. JMart Ramon, powered by All Four Seasons on 104.5 The Zone. Patriots 36, Titans 13. We're reacting to every single bit of it here this morning with you until 10 o'clock. Alongside Ramon Foster, Will Boling with you, Jonathan Schaefer, our producer. We talked about, obviously, the crazy coaching carousel in college football. We've talked a little bit about the NFL and about what the Titans can and can't do in order to win. But we were talking about this before the break, Ramon, is that this team has pretty much one way to win right now, and it's winning ugly.
Yeah.
All right, if you win on 80% of the plays and then you crash and burn on the other ones and you have 4 turnovers,
right,
there's not really a lot of positives you can take away from that because the margin for error on the way you are trying to win right now is very, very small. You can't fail on 20 to 15% of the plays and expect to take away any positives because that's the formula that you have set to win games right now.
Yeah, and you mentioned a phrase I've heard people say, and it's fun until it's not anymore. And right now it's not fun. You said, the Titans always find a way to win ugly. And I'm just thinking to myself, yeah, that's okay when you got all hands on deck. Right now, not all hands on deck. You got to be efficient. And that's the thing about this team that I think everybody said over and over this morning on the reaction of what's happened in New England in the last couple of weeks. The game against the Texans, it was an ugly game. It was ugly all the way through. It was the weather. It was just the turnovers, everything that went into a divisional opponent. It was ugly. So you lost ugly. When in those games, you do win ugly when it comes down to it. But you're not afforded those things. Well, you brought that up. When you're missing as many guys that the Titans are, when you got guys on roster that may have gotten here 2 weeks ago and are just now, and they're playing in games, you can't afford to lose or you can't afford to win ugly. You got to go out and be more concise about what you're doing. And yesterday, I think, was a telltale sign of that. You had 2 running backs that went over 100 yards, but you had a quarterback that had no cohesion with his passing game, screen game, playmaking ability when it comes to finding ways to have a clean game. It didn't translate yesterday. And so, again, yeah, when Todd Downing is doing great, we're going to say that. Right now, the relationship between him and Ryan Tannehill as far as what's been called and what he's comfortable with and what the receivers need to be doing and everything else has not been clean enough, has not been good enough for them to win ugly. It's just been ugly losses more than anything. I saw Dez Fitzpatrick again yesterday. Ryan Tannehill was making a check at the line of scrimmage when Dez was lined up on the left
I know
side.
exactly which one you're talking about.
Ryan checks, and he's like, what? And Ryan Tannehill had to tell him again. Maybe he just didn't hear it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Maybe he should know, okay, in this play set,
sure,
I'm only going to check to this. So even if he didn't know exactly what the call was, he should know that, hey, it was probably a check with me.
Right.
And he made the check and Dez didn't know it. I'm not blaming Dez or Ryan. What I'm saying is you got to be cleaner. And it's not been clean the last couple of weeks specifically.
615-737-1045, our number. Let's go to Chase in White House. What's going on, Chase?
What's up, Chase? Good morning.
Yeah, man. Good morning, Ramon. So I was listening to all these people call in, and I feel like the vast majority of them are kind of clueless, and I kind of feel for you because I know you played and you know more than all of us here, and and it just kind of in my head I'm like, man, I bet this dude's shaking his head. Anyways, just to kind of get to what I mean, who would expect us to really go out and beat the Patriots with people off the street, people off the practice squad, our practice squad, other people's practice squad? I mean, we're literally pulling in people off the street, to put on the roster to fill spots, and people act like, what happened? Like, what's wrong? Like, you don't know what's wrong? Like, did you just start watching this week? Like, I mean, you got a 5-star chef. You give him a couple pieces of bread and some sugar and go, fix something great. He's like, I can't. You're like, why? You ain't a good chef? Like, come on, man. It's silly. These people are silly. Like, get on the train and figure out what in the hell's going on. But I'm gonna hang up. Also, ever had at the Steelers, was there ever a year where there was just a pile up of injuries that you remember? And you know, if you can kind of talk about how that ended up working out.
Yeah, a pile up, not necessarily. It's just injuries at the wrong time. Like, honestly, right now with the Titans, like, the injuries are okay. It's just you're missing guys at the wrong time. Like, this stretch of games is what you needed to be a whole lot smoother. You made it through the grind. That 6-game grind that we talked about at the beginning of the year, you made it through that. And so making it out of that, you was like, whew, we got breathing room. And right now, there is absolutely zero breathing room for this team. I just think it's injuries at the wrong time, considering, again, it's only one team that's going to get a bye week. If it was 1 and 2, totally different mindset.
Sure.
But this team needs another bye week.
Ramon, I think the frustration, thank you for the call, Chase. I think the frustration for a lot of Titans fans today, of course, going into Friday and Saturday, I think most of us assumed that this Titans team was going to be overmatched. It was going to come up short on Sunday.
Yeah.
But how often did we hear, Ramon, after the loss to the Jets and the loss to the Texans, if you let a bad team hang around, if you let a team that's overmatched hang around, you never know what can happen? That Titans team hung around for a half. The Titans team lost the turnover margin 2-0 going into halftime. And they missed 2 kicks, and they were down 3 at that point. We have heard on the other side of the coin, hey, don't let bad teams hang around, and then you see what can happen.
Yeah.
You know, you make a couple plays. Titans hung around, then didn't make a couple plays. And I don't know what this team got better at in this game other than running the football, maybe. But again, we're talking about these as one-off. Running a draw on 3rd down late in the first half is not really something you can build off of in the future. That's a one-off explosive play that you caught somebody napping going into the locker room. That's what that run was for 68 yards.
Yeah. And also, so I guess the New England run defense, I think they're middle of the road when it comes down to stopping them. I'm trying to find
they're pretty good
where they're giving it up at. But that defense is solid. I just think they were willing to let the run game do its thing. They're good enough in the red zone to where they can stop stuff. So, and that's what was the telltale. That was the tell of the tape at the end of the day, Will, was that.
Honestly, we just saw the Patriots win with a formula the Titans like to use when Derrick Henry's healthy.
Sure did.
Run the ball efficiently, check it down, be efficient in the passing game, let your guys run after catch. Kendrick Bourne with kind of an A.J. Brown toe tap, similar catch he made against the Colts to score.
Yeah.
That was the Titans formula the Patriots used to beat them at their own game yesterday. 615-737-1045. Let's go to Tom in Tampa Bay. Huh, wonder if those two are related. What's going on, Tom?
Hey, how you doing?
Good morning.
Good.
Just calling, kind of agree with the last couple of callers, especially the one that said about the accountability. That end zone sequence we had when we were down by 13, and they pass, ran, pass, and it ended up being picked off. We also looked back earlier in the game when we had ran for a whole bunch of yards, and they did that 3 passes and punt. Sooner or later, your offensive coordinator, I know he's dealing with a messed up situation, but I personally felt if they would have got down by 13, 1st and goal at the 5, and ran the ball 4 times, we would have scored with ease. We got it down to the 3-yard line before going to the last couple pass plays. And the last thing with the accountability, 5 minutes, 40 seconds left in the game. Tannehill's still in the game. We're down by 3+ scores. He gets hit on his arm. Now the pass goes incomplete. If he got hurt, and our season is officially pretty much done, not even making the playoffs by then after an 8-2 start, would there be an accountability issue then?
Yeah.
Thank you, Tom. I think we've got accountability issues now for the way the plays are being called.
That's the biggest thing. The players that you're getting.
It's been the case all season.
Yeah, it's been the case all season. But the players that you're getting, though, is what's left out on the street, too, with all of these injuries. I don't know if I've ever seen this early in the season, too.
No.
Well, we're midway, a little bit past midway through. I don't know if I've ever actually seen this many transactions, this many people going to IR, this many people just being down, ever.
Right.
So when the caller, I forget his name, that called in earlier and asked the question about have I ever dealt with it? No, I haven't. I've dealt with key players being out at bad spots in the season.
Right.
But I don't think we've ever run through this many players ever. Maybe towards the last 3 games of the season or something like this, but not even. No, I can't say that I actually saw this happening.
I think that the in terms of, and thank you for the call, Tom. I think that in terms of the scripting, in terms of what this team is doing to start games, we already need to have a question about accountability for the offensive coordinator and how this team is game planning coming out of, a new week into a new game. That's a question we can have right now, regardless of who is on the field, because that's the one thing that's been consistent over the course of the entire season. But I think at this point, you've got to wonder how Todd Downing is making Ryan Tannehill more comfortable in this offense right now. Started 8 of 8 yesterday. Mm-hmm. What changed for you?
And this is something else. I know we got these phone lines lined up too. We're going to get to them.
Right.
But this was brought to my attention numerous times yesterday on social media and a little bit this morning also. Why are you getting to the tight red zone goal line and throwing the ball? Okay.
No idea.
I know this to be true. When we had Todd Haley as our OC, one of the things that we dealt with when you have a guy, though, is this. Tight red zone, you know that most teams are going to dive in and just make a play.
Right.
They can slant. Defensive lines can slant in and get a tackle for loss easy. When you get into the shotgun on the tight red zone, and y'all can agree or disagree with me on this, and I'd love to hear you guys' opinion on it, but it's this. If I can get the ball in my quarterback playmaker's hand, and I got 5 options instead of 1 as far as running it in, when you don't necessarily know if you trust what your offensive line has done also, then I'm going to elect to throw it. I feel like with the picks that offenses have in the tight red zone, we've seen teams do this, where their wide receiver or pick or DBs lose their guy in the red zone or at the tight goal line. Then you have a better opportunity to score. When it doesn't work, that's when everybody start throwing tomatoes at the offensive coordinator and the quarterback. Like, this is what's happened as of late. And you also got to understand this. We said the one thing that could not happen has happened.
Right.
In the tight red zone, goal line area specifically, 3 yards and in, 22 is not back there anymore. Teams don't fear you. And I don't know if the offenses really trust the running backs that are going to run it in also because they're not Derrick Henry. Teams aren't going to bite on the play action because Derrick Henry's not getting it. And because of that, you're left with trying to find the best opportunity to get into the end zone. And that's having 5 guys potentially being able to catch the ball or make a play with their hands instead of running it in. New England's red zone defense, their goal line has always been good. They do the shift where they make offensive linemen jump, you go 5 yards backwards.
Yeah.
They always find a way to make a TFL. And right now, playing behind us on the TV wheel was what? A pick in the end zone.
Pick in the end zone and 3 forced fumbles.
3 forced fumbles.
No doubt.
It ain't cute. Todd Downing probably feels like this is his best means of getting into the end zone.
Right.
22 ain't back there, but something's got to be resolved really, really fast. That 200 yards was awesome.
Right.
But something's got to shake when it comes down to what else is coming with this team offensively.
615-737-1045 is the number. Let's go back to the phones and talk to Frying Pan. Morning, Frying Pan.
Morning, Frying Pan.
Hey, guys. How y'all doing?
Good. Good morning.
Hey, real quick. So I'm not normally like a sunshine pumper. I mean, I'm a realist. But with the Titans, it's like I was telling everybody yesterday, the good news is a couple good things. The game yesterday, obviously you wanted to win that game. It was a tough game. But you've got a bye week coming up to get healthy. And I know, like you said a few minutes ago, Ramon, you really need 2 bye weeks. But you got a bye week. Maybe you get Julio back after the bye week, hopefully. And maybe A.J. Brown will be closer to coming back. But with that, your last 5 games, man, you're sitting at 8-4.
Mm-hmm.
3 of your 5 games are at home. They're all winnable. They're all winnable games. But you're going to have to play a tough game for 60 minutes, man, because you're just not there right now, like you said. But, don't hit the panic button yet, Titans fans. I mean, you still got a real good shot at a good season, win the division. You're up 2 games in the division because the Bucs beating the Colts.
Yeah.
And then the other thing I want to say, my team I grew up lifelong, I'm a Bengals fan. And, Ramon, I got to take a little jab at you. So the Bengals finally sweep the Steelers, and that game wasn't even a game yesterday. They destroyed the Steelers.
What is this, 2009?
Poor Ben.
The Bengals won the divisions a couple of times with Dalton and A.J. Green, and you played against them.
They didn't win a playoff game, though.
I know. Hey, but I'm going to tell you something right now, and I'm not just being a homer. I legitimately feel that this team right here is built to win a playoff game. With the defense we got, we could get after the quarterback without blitzing, and then also with the running game, Joe Mixon and Burrow throwing to those receivers, this could be the year that the Bengals finally win a playoff game. But anyhow, man, it's all love to you, Ramon. But I just want to say, hey, I've been telling people for a long time. For 3 years now, I got a coworker. He's a Steelers fan. And I said, look, man, Roethlisberger's a Hall of Fame quarterback. He's a great quarterback. But, man, Pittsburgh has got to get them draft a quarterback or bring a quarterback in because Big Ben, man, he's at the end, dude. I mean, it's time to move on, right?
Yeah. I'm with you.
Thanks
for taking my call, guys.
No doubt.
Thank you.
I will say Joe Burrow's probably about to run the AFC North.
He's good, man.
I can't even front.
Him and Jamar Chase are good.
Watching him yesterday, hey, the pendulum eventually swings. And right now it seems to be in Cincinnati.
It's going to be interesting to see what the next move is at QB for Pittsburgh.
Yeah, and I got a reason why they probably hadn't let go of him, too, or benched him.
I was going to say, I mean, it's not going to happen this year. But
no, absolutely not.
You knew it was going to come eventually.
Yeah, of course. All good things come to an end.
That's right. 615-737-1045 the number. Let's get to Bam real quick before we head to break. What's going on, Bam?
What's up,
good morning.
Bam?
Yo, what up, fam? Everybody good?
Man, we're all right.
We're great.
We're all right.
Man, look, I was heartbroken yesterday, too, but there's a few things that I wanted to point out. One, that was an obtainable game. But the thing is this. You can't ask – Ryan don't have his friends. It's like me, I'm a drummer. Like, Ramon came to one of my shows. And it's like this, man. Like, the more you build chemistry with people, the better you sound as a band and a unit. You know what I'm saying? It's certain things that I could do. That's just like if Ramon got up to play bass and I ain't never played bass with Ramon, our chemistry, you have to learn that chemistry. That takes time, man. Like, Ryan and AJ go together so well. They done had 2 years together. You know what I'm saying? So it's like he's learning people. He's learning people's characters. He's got to learn people's tendencies. They have to learn all that. So it's like we putting so much on him, and it's like he don't have no timing with these guys, man. You know what I'm saying? And it's a lot of things, but that game was obtainable yesterday. Now you got guys that are coming off, they nerves bad, they know what's up, you know. But I will say this. Had our starters been there yesterday, like in a perfect world, if our starters been there, if everybody's there, that game would have been the same game yesterday. It would have been a totally different game all the way around. Now, if we see them again in the playoffs with our starters, totally different ball game all the way around. Now, I think, is it possible for us to win out after this? You know, anything's possible. But my question to y'all is this. Is there a way that we can get back if, like, the Patriots start losing or whatever and we win out?
I don't know. I mean, it's
either.
I don't think there's a way they're going to get home field at this point.
I don't think so either.
Yeah.
It's weird. I think it honestly, and everybody laughed when he kind of said it. Well, everybody kind of laughed when he said it, but Ryan Clark kind of alluded to it. It's either the Bills or the Patriots. Who else is hot in the AFC?
Yeah, because the Chiefs have lost the
Ravens are still finding a way because they're number one right now.
Right.
It's going to take 13 wins.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're going to have to beat Pittsburgh. You're going to have to beat.
You have to.
You got to beat the bad teams. You got 3 bad teams left.
Yeah.
You've got the Steelers,
Dolphins.
and then on a Thursday night, the Niners coming to town.
Right.
The
That's
NFC,
a heck of a turnaround.
Yeah. That's those are the ones in question at this point. Now, obviously, every game's in question.
I'm just going to say
right now, but
everything's in question.
I'm saying those are the ones that are really toss-ups at this point. 615-737-1045. Caleb will lead us off when we come back. It is JMart and Ramon, powered by All Four Seasons on 104.5 The Zone.
proud of our guys. I felt like the offensive line was probably their best game. Without looking at the tape, just seeing the way they're pushing piles and finishing, it felt really good from my perspective of just watching those guys run the football and be physical and finish. I think that was definitely a big step in the right direction. Defense has played some really good ball for us. We just have to be able to reset and do it together.
JMart and Ramon, powered by All Four Seasons on 104.5 The Zone. Trust matters. Count on All Four Seasons garage doors in Nashville. Professional garage door installation and repair from a locally owned and family-run business. Visit allfourseasonsgarages.com. Ramon Foster, Jonathan Schaefer, Will Boling with you here on this Reaction Monday. As you hear the quarterback, again, recapping another loss, second in a row, and another game where the Titans turn the ball over 4 more times. Not great in a 36-13 defeat to the New England Patriots. We go back to the phones, or you can join us at 615-737-1045 and say hello to Caleb in Nashville. Good morning, Caleb.
Good morning, Caleb.
Hey, what's going on, fellas?
Morning.
Not much.
Hey, got a couple quick things. First thing, actually, love listening to you guys. Will, actually, you and I had a class back in UT about 2016, 2017, had a real small communications class with about 15 kids in it.
Hey, very nice.
Your speeches were always the best. You said, I think you wanted to work for like ESPN Sports Center, so it's nice listening to you.
Boo.
You got on the grind. You got it done. So,
thank you, Caleb.
But anyway, I just want to say it's just kind of sad the way that things are going with the Titans with the injuries, because this team was built for win now.
Mm-hmm.
It's definitely like with the restructuring of the contracts and the money that they're paying out and things, and bringing guys in where we really needed guys. It was definitely a win now roster. And so with all these record breaking injuries, it's just kind of sad to watch, especially being like a longtime Titans fan. But I think I know it's a what have you done for me lately league. But I think we forget, Ryan Tannehill kind of, in a sense, saved the future of the franchise in a way. I mean, we still had Derrick Henry in the backfield when Mariota was quarterback, and we still couldn't get anything going on the offense. And you bring Ryan in, and, up until, 2 games ago, he was taking care of the ball fantastic. I mean, he's a game manager. He's no, Aaron Rodgers or even a Russell Wilson can go out and just win the game for you. But, he's got nobody to throw to. He's out there. He's got to do it all. He's got to be the hero. And he's just not that kind of quarterback. It's not that he's not good. He's just not that guy. And if anything, this year is kind of speaking to the fact that Derrick Henry should have been way up there in the MVP race last year and gotten the respect that he deserves. But it's just a sad year for the Titans. But anyway, I'll hang up and listen. Thanks, guys. Keep it going, man.
Thank you, Caleb. Appreciate the call. I think that's probably about as reasonable of a call as we've had. And I don't just say that because that's a guy that I apparently had class with, which is pretty cool. Someone said good morning to me, actually, in that call, so that was really nice. It's a nice change from a lot of the callers we've had, Ramon. Thanks.
So petty.
What's been a problem with the other callers, Will?
Oh, it's okay. It's okay.
They call in and just say, hey,
Ramon.
Ramon.
Good morning, Ramon. Hey, Ramon, I just wanted to ask you this. And I just sit here. Like, oh, okay.
Will is a person too, everybody.
All right, cool. Perfect.
My turn.
Appreciate it.
And we've
Get off our show.
We've laughed about it. We've laughed about this off air. So Will's taking it in good stride.
Oh, it's great. It's great.
Every caller now call in and say, good morning, Ramon only.
So, all those Alabama teams we discuss in years past and say, insert quarterback here is just a game manager?
Yeah.
That's like actually true about Ryan Tannehill. It's a good thing.
It is a good thing.
In the NFL, you could still win a Super Bowl with a game manager.
You can. I mean, let's be real.
And at the end of the day, Ramon, the question is Ryan Tannehill good enough to win you a Super Bowl? That's the only question that needs answering.
No.
You don't think so?
I don't think so.
Wow.
As
okay.
far as winning, because what did New England press him to do yesterday?
Made him throw the ball in the pocket.
So to me, that was, and I told the guys this before you were filling in for Jay. I said, whatever New England does is what is going to be determined of what the strength is of what the Titans need to do, like offensively moving forward. It was that. It's the idea that, look, they wanted to see if he could win the game for them. And they took it away. They allowed him to. And it didn't turn out good. And again, of course, when you have the guy, though, and I'll say this, Ryan Tannehill is probably the best quarterback the Titans have had since Aaron McNair. Hands down, easily. But everything else has to work around him. Caleb just said that. We had a caller before him say that also. And before this has happened on this show, there's been other people that say he's a really good manager and everything has to work right around him. Me personally, as a player, I needed my guys around me to be a better player also. That's okay to actually say that. Like, it's okay. Like, looking at Trent Williams, he can do it by himself. It doesn't matter. Aaron Donald can do it by himself. We seen Aaron Rodgers can do it by himself. We've had callers call in and say, hey, look what Aaron Rodgers is doing. It's not Tannehill. And that's okay to say that actually also. But when you're missing Julio, you're missing Derrick Henry, you're missing AJ, you know what I'm saying? Your O-line is just now getting back together. Like, you're missing a lot of pieces. You don't really have a huge tight end game.
Right.
Like, Ryan needs all those things to get going.
Right.
It really is okay to say that that's okay. It's not knocking him. I don't think so personally. Heck, he's doing well. He's an NFL quarterback, top 1% of all quarterbacks in this world.
Sure. 615-737-1045, our number. Let's say hello to cousin Andrew this morning on the phone line. What's going on, Andrew?
Hey, good morning to Will, Ramon, and Schaefer.
Thank
Since we all want to leave him out. If we're going to roll this dice, let's roll it right.
Let's go.
So I apologize, Schaefer. I actually have two questions. I told you I had one, but I have two. Demerit me. It's fine. I'll take it.
Sure.
So my first one is about Tannehill. And, look, I'm not overreacting. Y'all know I don't overreact. Tannehill has nobody to throw to. That's why I don't blame Downing for the bad play calling, because he doesn't know the personnel. I mean, let's be real. But do y'all think this organization pays a little more attention to the quarterback availability this offseason, knowing what Tannehill cannot do with him without Henry in the backfield? Because I'm curious about that. And then secondly, and I think I forgot my question because I've sit here racking my brain. So, yeah, we'll just go with that one because I forgot my second question. Anyways, y'all have a good week, boys. See ya.
Thank you, Andrew. Look, I think that the only way you're going to get a quarterback that's worth starting for a long period of time in this league is by using a first or second round pick and letting somebody sit behind Ryan Tannehill and learn under him. I'm not to that point yet.
No. And
I'm not there yet.
There's another aspect of it, too. I don't know if it's going to work out well for him. Looking at what the Rams traded for to get Stafford.
Yeah.
Stafford is looking real pedestrian right now.
For me, if I'm the Titans, you've whiffed on enough first-round draft picks in the last couple of years. I'm not spending my time looking at a quarterback in the first or second round when I can't draft a tackle that can stay on the field in the first round.
Also, there's a lot of moving pieces that's got to go into the offseason. We'll get more into it, Will, after this break if you want to, man.
No doubt. After the break, we recap the headlines once again in the NFL and from the Titans' 36-13 loss. And Lincoln Riley, the new head coach at USC. The carousel has begun. It's going to be a crazy couple of weeks. We continue the show. Halftime. Third hour coming up next here on JMart and Ramon.
This dude just did this.
It is 8:03. Good morning. I'm Jonathan Shea for the New England Patriots. Outscored the Tennessee Titans 20-0 in the second half, on the way to a 36-13 win Sunday at Gillette Stadium. It was the Patriots' sixth win in a row. Despite dealing with a slew of injuries, the Titans trailed by only 3 points at the half, 16-13.
Delay handoff. Hilliard has the first down 40, 45-50, 45-40, 35-30, 25-20, 15, 10, 5, end zone. Hilliard has just gone 68 yards. Touchdown, Titans.
For Hilliard, that was 68 of his game-high 131 yards. Dante Foreman had 109 yards rushing as the Titans had 270 yards on the ground, but they were undone by 4 turnovers, including 3 fumbles lost. Titans now 8-4, having lost 2 in a row heading into the bye week. Fortunately for Tennessee, the Colts lost to the Bucs 38-31 in a thriller in Indy. The Titans still have a 2-game lead in the AFC South over the Colts, including the head-to-head tiebreaker. College football, Oklahoma's Lincoln Riley will be leaving the Sooners to become the next head coach at USC. Florida has hired Louisiana's Billy Napier as the Gators' next football coach. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Hoyer, in his 13th year out of Michigan State, takes a knee. Bill Belichick has finally beaten Mike Vrabel. Final score, New England Patriots 36, Tennessee Titans 13.
JMart and Ramon, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors on 104.5 The Zone. Jonathan Schaefer making the show happen. Ramon Foster along with me. Will Boling sitting in for Jason Martin this morning. Glad to be with you as we recap Patriots 36, Titans 13. A wild weekend for the college football coaching carousel. And we chat with Ian Eagle of CBS coming up here in 15 minutes. Halftime of the show. Hope you enjoyed all of the calls so far, even though most of them did not say good morning to me. Only Ramon when they greeted us. But fun show so far, Ramon.
It is.
2 shows that I've been on here for a Monday and 2 losses. We talked about this to start the show, but I apologize.
You stupid idiot.
To the city of Nashville. It's my fault. It's my fault.
It's all good.
It's just so ridiculous.
Players mess up, man.
We're going to snap and clear. Going to be back at it again. Whatever. Actually, I can go ahead and say that I will be turning the Buck Rising show into the Will Bowling show the rest of the
Hey, now.
Get on it and spin.
Tuesday through Friday. Buck responded to me and said, "Don't suck" last night.
Yeah, he did.
Which kind of ruins my plans for the rest of the week. I thought I was going to do the show like Buck does. I'm just kidding. 615-737-104.
What he meant to say was, don't suck worse.
That was a nice shot right there.
I see what you did there.
Buck would appreciate that one.
You would.
I think so. That was
Sit on it and spin.
If not, Babs would.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of a sleepy Saturday in Neyland Stadium, Ramon.
Yeah, you were telling me about that. I know you went up to the game, man. On TV, it looked like a great environment as far as, but you said it was kind of.
It's as quiet and dead as I've heard Neyland Stadium in a hot minute.
So it sounded like Vandy was in the building.
It's the way Tennessee Vandy is intended to be played.
Yeah.
And if Vandy fans, if you don't like hearing that, our number is 615-737-1045.
Jeez. You guys are the worst.
615-730. You're not going to call in, but I'm just going to give you the number because you're not going to use it anyway. 615-737-1045.
By the way, can we congratulate Ramon Foster after the disaster of his prediction in the final year of the Jeremy Pruitt era?
Yes.
Ramon said, along with Adam Sparks out in Knoxville,
yes, sir,
that the Vols would go 7-5 this season, and Ramon Foster hit it right on the head.
Marty McFly, everybody.
You're welcome.
Back from the future, Ramon Foster.
And I saw a lot of people saying, well, only people that said that this team would win more than 5 games are people who will have on orange-tinted glasses.
That's not true. I said 6, but I was off by
That's what I'm saying. And I was just like, well, if you look at the schedule and what's there, I was like, they should win. And this is the same thing you feel about almost if you have a capable team, and I didn't know it was going to lose that many players this year, but you got to be able to steal 1 or 2 other games. And they did. I figured they'd go 6-6, and I was like, "There's one game out there they're gonna get." You said your prediction, Will, was you was off by one game also.
Only game I missed was Missouri. I did not anticipate them having the worst rush defense in modern day college football.
Mm-hmm. Well, now they're
literally
they're ticking up. They
playing
were
okay now.
ticking up. Yeah.
How about the Twitter account as well for @Vandy Football?
I saw it was ran by who again?
Reddit College Football.
And they're just trolls, basically.
Pretty much.
Okay.
99% of Vanderbilt fans don't know who or what Reddit College Football is.
I had no idea.
This is where, again, social media managers get so insulated in Twitter being real life. Twitter is not real life.
Yeah, they had people triggered this past
really
weekend.
weird.
Yeah.
But Tennessee gets the win. The Vols kind of sleepwalked to a victory over Vandy. You can tell the progress Tennessee has made given the fact that a 24-point win is disappointing to Tennessee.
I know.
They didn't look great. Hendon Hooker gets hurt late in the game. Clark Lee, you got to give credit to him. I give Vanderbilt a little bit of crap. But that team still battled and didn't quit in the second half. And for a Vanderbilt program that's trying to tear everything down and rebuild everything, that's a plus for them. 615-737-1045. Ramon, someone has answered my plea.
Let's go.
Mike is in Nashville, a Vanderbilt fan, ready to yell at me. What's going on, Mike? Good morning.
Mike?
Hey, bro, what's going on?
Not much.
No, I love Vanderbilt. It's always been my team. You know, since back in the 70s, I was. I tell you what got me a Vanderbilt fan is we had a Pee Wee football team, and Vanderbilt invited us to play at halftime at the Vanderbilt-Alabama game, which Alabama won 66-3. But you know, so. But I've always been a Vanderbilt fan. I love Vanderbilt. It's a great school. Just love it. You know, whether they win or lose.
Hey,
you know,
thank you,
we'll
Mike.
play you in baseball anytime.
There it is.
You used to want to play.
I was waiting
baseball.
for that.
Yeah,
I was waiting for that.
Yep.
Gosh, what's it like not being the SEC East champions in baseball, Ramon?
What's his life?
What's that like?
Pain. Pain, Will.
I was told we choose. Thank you for the call, Mike. I was told we choose violence on
Mike.
those shows, so I decided to.
Mike said they invited the Pee Wee team to a halftime performance at a
Was that real?
Vanderbilt game. Had a bigger crowd than the actual team did.
I thought that was Buck doing a fake Vanderbilt fan for a minute.
No,
That guy sounded like Buck a little bit.
no, that was.
No disrespect to Mike. Mike, we
Sit on it
appreciate
and
the call,
spin.
buddy. 615-737-1045. Titans falling 36-13. We will get into much more with the coaching carousel in college football, what it means for Tennessee as the show goes on. But coming up next, Ramon, we talk with Ian Eagle of CBS on the call yesterday with Charles Davis of VFL. And I'm looking forward to asking him how on earth you prepare for a broadcast when you get 13 transactions by one team on a Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
That's about a month's worth of transactions the Titans had on one day as they lose 36-13 yesterday to the Patriots.
Mm-hmm.
We'll get his thoughts on Ryan Tannehill, get his thoughts on where this Patriots team stacks up with everybody else in the AFC. Ramon, I'm not going to be on for top 7, bottom 3 in the NFL this week, but Patriots might have moved up to number 1 in the AFC with that win yesterday.
They may have. Looking at the list I had, the Patriots are moving up. The Ravens are that game last night was just ugly. That was an
terrible.
ugly win for them.
That win was uglier than any win that the Titans have had all season.
It was.
Honestly.
And Baker, I see why Cleveland has yet to, give the olive branch of saying, hey, let's do this contract. Baker looks bad, man.
Really bad. Really bad.
Like, I'm taking Lamar 10 times out of 10 when it comes down to, Baker. I actually thought Baker had the opportunity to do something special in Cleveland.
I agree.
How about Lamar threw 4 picks and Cleveland still lost?
Still lost 3 in 1 quarter.
Lamar threw 3 picks in the first half, and people are still acting on these broadcasts like there's no defense of stopping him. No, the defense for stopping Lamar is you catch the ball when he throws it to you. That's how you stop Lamar Jackson.
Oh, did y'all see the coach last night? Was that you that tweeted that out? The last chance you coach?
No.
Oh my God.
What was this?
Oh, it's not safe for work content.
Oh, perfect.
But he was ripping Lamar and Baker last night. It was funny. I'll show it to you on the break, Will.
Perfect. 615-737-1045. Let's get one more call in quickly here before we go to break. Let's go to Ray. I want to talk some Vols with us, Ramon. What's going on, Ray?
What's up, Ray?
Yes, sir. I was reading Sports Illustrated and bowl predictions. They've got Tennessee in the Gator Bowl versus Penn State. One, do you know Penn State's record? Who beat them? And do you think the Vols can play with them?
Thank you, Ray.
Thank you, yeah.
Penn State finished the year 7-5.
Mm-hmm.
They lost 30-27 at Michigan State.
Enough to give James Franklin a 10-year extension.
Yeah.
10-year
$84 million buyout.
This is a good scenario for Tennessee to be in because they're going to punch above their weight to a better Big Ten team.
Mm-hmm.
And they're going to have a chance to beat them.
Yeah.
Because of the way the SEC got 13 out of 14 SEC teams in.
Who missed out?
Let's see. Bad SEC. Oh, yeah, Vanderbilt.
You guys.
Teams that run their own Twitter accounts had a 100% bowl acceptance rate.
Here we
Teams
go.
that do not run their own Twitter
want
accounts
to talk about
had
the
a 0%.
dumbest Twitter
Get off
beef
our
on
show.
Saturday.
I tweeted that out,
It
actually.
was so you and Brian Rice with the hot tag on that over the weekend.
Look, I mean, when you have the chance to dunk on a 6-foot rim, you dunk on a 6-foot rim.
You better get your kids out the way because I'm
Absolutely.
coming through.
Come on. No, but Ray, we appreciate the call. I think part of it depended on Kentucky or Mississippi State losing to get you to a Florida Bowl. The way Tennessee travels to these Florida Bowl games, they're going to have a better chance than a Mississippi State or even really a Kentucky of going to play a Big Ten team in the Gator or the Outback Bowl.
What if we get a better bowl than Kentucky?
Kentucky will travel.
Kentucky was in the Gator Bowl last year.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, but Kentucky will travel.
It was Kentucky and Kentucky and Kentucky was in the Gator Bowl last year.
Yeah, I've
Ole Miss played Indiana and Outback.
Yeah.
So Kentucky's not going to Jacksonville. I think they're in Nashville. I think Tennessee's coming to Music City Bowl for the sake of recruiting.
I do too, but do I think that they can compete with Penn State? Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
I do think so.
Oh, they can beat Penn State.
Also got a couple guys said they're coming back already. I think Jerome Carvin said he was coming back also. Yep. And you said who else was it?
Cedric Tillman did not go through senior day, nor did Hendon Hooker. It's going to be interesting.
Yes, it is.
615-737-1045 is our number. When we come back, we chat with the man on the play-by-play call yesterday for Titans and Patriots. Ian Eagle of CBS Sports joins us. Coming up next, it's JMart and Ramon, powered by All Four Seasons on 104.5 The Zone.
3rd and 3. Running play. Hilliard, big gain, and Hilliard's got speed. He could go. Dontrell Hilliard all the way. Touchdown, Tennessee. 68 yards from the practice squad to the big time.
That was the call yesterday on CBS as the Titans fall 36-13 to the New England Patriots. JMart and Ramon, powered by all four seasons here on 104.5 The Zone. Jonathan Schaefer, our producer. Will Boling back with you alongside Ramon Foster. Pleased to be joined on the Mark Spain Real Estate Hotline by that man right there, Ian Eagle from CBS, on the call on yesterday's game for the Titans. Good morning, Ian. How are you?
Hey, guys. Good morning.
Good morning.
Great to talk to you. Appreciate the time this morning. And I'll tell you what, I don't think I've ever seen the Titans make 13 roster moves on one day leading up to a game. How much of a frenzy were you and Charles Davis in trying to keep all these moves together going into Sunday?
Yeah, there was a text chain that was highly active from Tuesday through Sunday with all of us participating. I think what's happened in the NFL, just based on a few things, the way that the injured reserve list works now, that you can do a short-term injured reserve, so you have players that do shuffle in and out. Injuries like A.J. Brown's in past years, I'm not sure the Titans would have put him on injured reserve. They just would have waited it out. But because you have a little more flexibility, you're going to see guys in the lineup, out of the lineup, on the 53, outside the 53. And then with the COVID protocols last year, we've seen this very large scale of practice squad guys that get an opportunity, one game, and then you may not hear from them again for the rest of the season. So it's definitely keeping play-by-play guys on their toes and analysts as well. For Tennessee, it's obvious. The numbers speak for themselves. You know it. You live it on an everyday basis. They're just missing so many big names, and they just didn't have enough horses yesterday to go into New England and pull off an upset like that.
Well, and Ian, too, I think if you had told me before the game the Titans were going to run for 270 yards against the New England Patriots, that would have been their formula to win this game, right? Without Derrick Henry, they had to muster something in the run game. They finally did that. How surprised were you that they maybe didn't use more of the play action, didn't kind of play off of that run game as much in the second half? Because down 3 at halftime, down 2-0 in the turnover battle, you felt at half like this team maybe had a shot to pull off the unthinkable in this game.
Yeah, no doubt. I think a couple things happened. One, as you alluded to, they never really got anything going in the passing game and the play action game in particular, and Tannehill's numbers show that. I don't know if it's just a matter of them understanding the personnel that they had and the limitations that they may have had at the wide receiver position and at tight end. But really, more importantly, they got very little pass rush on Mac Jones. And ultimately, although they did a tremendous job in the first half and into the third quarter against New England's run game, which is really good, it did wear them out. Eventually, Stevenson got his yards, Harris got his yards, including the rushing touchdown. And the shift that you felt late third quarter was real. And as the deficit got deeper and deeper, there was no chance this team could muster up the amount of offense and the quick strikes that they needed against New England. Look, Tennessee has respect around the league for how hard they play, for how the coaches get their guys prepared for each and every game. The disappointment of the Jet game is still real. The disappointment of the Houston game is still real. Those are games that should have been in the win column, but they're not. And you got to deal with it. The best thing going right now for Tennessee is that they have a week to catch their breath, to try to get a little bit healthier and to get themselves ready and prepared for the next game in a playoff mindset for Tennessee now at 8-4 after back-to-back losses. Things are really tight in the AFC, and they have a legitimate chance to be a playoff team, but those feelings of the number one seed and best team in the conference and maybe even best team in the NFL, those have faded with the injuries that we've seen.
Have Ian Eagle, CBS Sports. He called the Titans-Patriots game yesterday, and I have to ask you this. The recent history of this Titans and Patriots matchup has gone to the Titans. Vrabel is one of those guys that's gotten the best of Belichick, that's rare, okay? Especially in the mid-2000s, that's rare. So going into this game and your research of what you watched over this team, was there a feeling inside of like New England, Foxborough that, hey, the Titans could still get them?
Oh, there was concern. There's legitimate concern because of what happened the last two times these two teams met. Obviously, the playoff game, the one that's going to stick with Patriots fans forever because it ended up being Tom Brady's last game as a New England Patriot and a victory for the Tennessee Titans. It's interesting. You guys obviously see Mike's press conferences. I don't know how much interaction you have with him. Mike is a really honest, direct person, and if you ask him a question and he's not in the mood to answer it, he'll just not answer or give a curt answer and move on.
Mm-hmm.
So anyone that tried to even begin to understand the dynamic between Mike Vrabel, the New England franchise, Bill Belichick, you get thwarted because it's not an area that he really wants to discuss. Maybe years will go by, and when Mike moves on from coaching, it's something that he'll get into. Maybe he won't. Maybe it's just something he'll never really talk about. There's a lot there. Him learning about playing championship football and learning under Bill Belichick, who could be very tough on his guys. And I do think Mike's got some similarities in many ways, but then also does it in his own way. I don't think he is anything close to a facsimile of Bill Belichick, but I do think he believes in the same tenets and the same philosophies of how you run a team, how you coach a team, and the standard in which you expect your guys to perform. And yes, there's always going to be a little something when these two teams play, just based on how much interaction and personal experience there is between Bill Belichick and Mike Vrabel.
And just, talking about those two things where you say, Belichick has his way and Vrabel is getting his. Also, I always circle this game on this schedule for the Titans because I was like, we'll see how New England attacks this game. Yesterday, New England always allows you to do something, but take away everything else. When you looked at the stat line and saw 270 yards rushing, you had to think to yourself, because this is a Belichick way of doing things, they just wanted to see that happen themselves and cap off everything else that the Titans could do. Was that the way you saw it unfold with how this game went yesterday?
Yeah, I think that's a really good assessment. And look, the numbers do not match up with New England's numbers stopping the run this year. They've been very good in stopping the run. But I do think Bill Belichick will take the big picture approach. There's no way he goes into the game saying, we'll just allow 200 rushing yards and we'll take our chances with turnovers and what have you. But as the game plays out, they could live with it. And this team has been so good defensively in the red zone, creating opportunities. Obviously, it was a fourth down play, so either way, New England was getting the ball if they knocked the ball down or not. But what happens? McCourty tips the ball in the air and gives J.C. Jackson a gift. There's a real chemistry with this group in their secondary in particular, and the way that they've worked in concert with one another. They don't have big names necessarily littered throughout the team, although Matthew Judon is becoming a very big name in the NFL. J.C. Jackson's going to get paid like a top-flight corner. He's going to make big money, whether it's the Patriots that pay him or somebody else that pays him. We know what Devin McCourty has done forever. Kyle Van Noy continues to be an important cog. They find a guy in Kyle Duggar in the second round out of a Division II school, Lenore Ryan in Hickory, North Carolina. This guy's a big hitter. He's got great instincts. Miles Bryant could have been had by any team, an undrafted free agent out of Washington in 2020. Jalen Mills comes over from Philadelphia. The Eagles didn't need him anymore, and New England saw a role for him. So there's a common theme here. They have a knack. They have a way of finding guys that fit what they want to do. And in our chats with Bill Belichick, guys, he's not one that's just going to give you bulletin board material or give you 12 things that you can use in a broadcast.
Yeah.
But if you ask very specific questions to topics of interest to him, he will provide you detailed and well thought out, insightful answers. And one of the questions that we asked him was about this this trend of finding undrafted free agent corners through the years? And his answer was excellent and not shockingly effective in that they don't judge them in a way that maybe you would typically presume off the physical part of it, off the tangibles, so to speak. They're looking at different aspects of what guys do as communicators, what they've seen from them in intermediate passing game, which you just don't see a lot of in the college game. And it's working for them. They're pumping out really good players at that position that were not necessarily big names coming out of the collegiate level.
Ian Eagle, CBS Sports, with us here on 104.5 The Zone. Ian, you've seen Ryan Tannehill at his best. Obviously, you were there for that win over Baltimore in the divisional round a couple of years ago. You've seen some of his biggest wins as the Tennessee Titans quarterback. And aside from the supporting cast, obviously looking very different with A.J. Brown, with Julio Jones out, with different pieces in this team, with a new offensive coordinator this year, what to you looks the most different about this Ryan Tannehill compared to the one that led the Titans to a win in the playoffs at Baltimore?
Well, you're just not seeing a whole lot of the downfield passing game, and I really do think a lot of it has to do with the personnel that they currently have. The one thing they could do in past years, Tannehill was so good in play action, and because you had to respect his legs and his ability to get outside the pocket, there was often a tentativeness potentially from safeties to committing because he could get to the perimeter and turn it upfield for 15 yards. Right now, I'm not sure if safeties are respecting their deep passing game, and because of that, they've been able to really close in on the edges, and I don't think it's been available for him. A lot of those design runs have not been in there, maybe because they don't believe that they can produce successful yardage from it. What hasn't changed is his approach. He's so even keel. There really is never any panic, and the variance is not very wide for him in his emotions and how he leads the team. They have to get healthy. There's no doubt about it. I think if you asked Ryan, he would tell you he's probably got to play better, and he's got to be a little more crisp in what he's doing. But they're just not what they were based on the one injury, Derrick Henry, and then the domino effect that it's had. It's great that you could produce 200 yards rushing. It's incredible that you got two 100-yard rushers in Hilliard and Foreman, and maybe they have found a little something moving forward that they're really comfortable with those two guys. But it's not Derrick Henry, and it does change the way defenses prepare for you, and it changes the way that defenses deploy their players in the box. The commitment level that they have to make with Derrick Henry, whether he runs it or not, changes the schematics of what Tannehill is looking at downfield, and there's just no denying that the last four games, that's what we've seen.
Ian Eagle, CBS Sports, has been our guest here on 104.5 The Zone. Ian on the call yesterday for the Titans' loss to the New England Patriots. I appreciate the time as always.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Yeah, anytime, guys. Great talking to you. We'll do it again down the road.
Yes, indeed.
All right. Ian Eagle on the Mark Spain Real Estate Hotline. I was interested to see kind of what his take on the Ryan Tannehill topic is because, Ramon, we've already had one caller asking, do the Titans draft a quarterback next year? The answer to that is still no. We've already had the crazy Ryan Tannehill isn't the guy conversation. And I think your approach is much more measured in the fact that, look, Ryan Tannehill's fine. I don't know if he can win you a Super Bowl. But that's interesting to kind of hear Ian Eagle, too, say that the difference is the vertical downfield threat. And he just has none of that right now to take the top off the defense.
The one guy he had, Marcus Johnson, went down with a hamstring. He's done for the year on IR also. And this is the approach, I would say. If you could paint the perfect scenario in which you said we need a Ryan Tannehill, to me, and there might be another game out there, but the one that pops off top to me is the Rams game.
Yeah.
Defense, really good. Guys made plays where they were necessarily needed to make them. A special teams follow up everything else with everybody else. That's not saying, again, that he's not the guy. He's the guy. You just need other parts around you to work well, too. That's the only point to be made from my side. I'll never down him and say, he's not the guy. That's not true. He's good. He's been, how many quarterbacks have this team gone through before they actually got to 17?
Right.
I mean, we're talking about top 10 draft picks also.
We're talking about Jake Locker. We're talking about Marcus Mariota, Matt Hasselbeck, Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Mettenberger, like, look, come on now.
Yeah.
We can go down the line.
Alex Tanney.
Alex, like, for real. You went down the line to get to him. But the thing is, you got to always compliment him. And again, I don't even want to go down this road, but I'm going to do it anyway. But the personnel that you are choosing to get in, you got to take a second look at it. One thing that he said about Ian Eagle said about Bill Belichick was, look, he doesn't look at the status of a guy or go after the name. He's going after the player. What can this player do? Is he our type of player? And right now, I know this team has cycled through a lot of different guys. But with that being said, you got to have a guy or two that's under the radar that's like, man, ooh, look at this guy. A T.R. Tar. You need more hits on that.
Naquan Jones.
You need more hits on that.
Christian Fulton looks like the biggest hit of the past 2 draft classes combined.
A draft guy.
At this point.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, I know Weaver's down with an injury. I know Caleb's down with an injury. But there's been so many. And again, yesterday was the most glaring part of this draft from Isaiah Wilson that we've ever seen. And we ain't even into the offseason, Will.
Well, because you think of who you could have drafted instead of him.
Even so, if the guy is not the guy, well, Isaiah's out. Like right now, you legitimately got to look at the future of this offensive line on the right side and say to yourself, what's to come?
Wasn't Chase Claypool drafted, right after Isaiah Wilson or right before?
Yep.
You're looking at a receiver like that.
A second-round pick.
That's the other thing. We talked about this last Monday. The lack of efficiency out of these past 2 drafts has caught up to this team because it exposes your deficiencies when you have so many injuries. It's a perfect storm for the Titans right now, not having healthy players and not having draft picks that you can rely on into the first and second round other than Christian Fulton in the last 2 years.
Well, and a lot of those draft picks also being hurt.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And that's part of it. Sure. But you've got a guy, Dylan Radins, no disrespect to him, that
none.
Can you afford to take a second-round project at tackle when you're trying to win right now? I don't know if you can.
Somebody said that earlier, too. This is a ready-made team. And we were expecting to open up the microwave and have popcorn.
It's ready to win right now. And they haven't done it the past 2 weeks, that's for sure. 615-737-1045, the number if you want to jump in on the Titans discussion. But coming up next, Ramon.
Yeah.
Tennessee fans are looking over their shoulder, worried that Josh Heupel could Kiffin them. But I'm going to put your mind at ease and supply you the difference between Josh Heupel and Lane Kiffin. We'll do that next. Talk a little Tennessee football. Coming up next, it's JMart and Ramon, powered by all 4 seasons on 104.5 The Zone.
Guess that's where we're at. We got to buy. We got to get healthy, mentally and physically, and get back to playing football how we know how to play it, taking care of the football, playing complementary, knowing the details. A lot of things to improve.
A lot of things to improve for the Titans, who fall 36-13 yesterday to the New England Patriots. We are JMart and Ramon, powered by All Four Seasons here in Nashville. Sitting in for Jason Martin, I'm Will Boling, alongside Ramon Foster, Jonathan Schaefer, our producer. Going to talk a little bit of Tennessee football coming up here in a minute, and the key difference between Josh Heupel and Lane Kiffin. There are many differences, but one of them, a tangible thing we can look to and say, this is very different from last time around when Tennessee had a coach leave after 1 year. But before we get to that, let's go back to the phones where you could join us at 615-737-1045. Let's get to Jeff in Franklin talking about the Titans. Hey, Jeff.
Hey, guys. Thank you so much. Hey, just got a question from a season ticket holder that might not know a lot, but in looking at the telecast and on Twitter and even on the radio, they talk about our defensive backs never, ever looking for the ball, looking at the ball. And a great example yesterday, how many personal penalties that we have for, again, incomplete passes, and again, we get fouls. And then Byard was a great example yesterday of not looking for the ball and getting burned on numerous occasions. And my question is, am I missing something, or what's going on with our defensive backs and all the penalties and all the passing that we're giving up? Thank you so much.
Appreciate it, Jeff.
Thank you, Jeff. Ramon, I'll let you take this one.
It may be a teach technique where don't let your eyes beat you more than anything. Be in a good body position. A lot of teams now, if you watch DBs, they'll watch the body language of the wide receivers instead of watching the ball, because watching the balls, you lose track of where your receiver is, and you don't want that to happen. What we're seeing right now is a lot of what the Colts are doing with the Hail Mary for a PI. Is working for them because those guys are watching the ball and are losing track of the wide receiver.
Right.
So that might be a technique that they're using. They might just got to use that in a hybrid way by, hey, one eye on them and feel, I guess, one eye on the ball, and if you can, hand on the receiver. It's got to be a teach technique inside the building, or somebody's passing it on to other players. Techniques are different from organization to organization, though, too. So I feel you on that. Maybe it's something that's going to be corrected on the bye week too, Will. So great question. It has been brought up a few times, man. I'm sure Blaine will probably pick that up this afternoon sometime.
615-737-1045, our number. Thank you for the call, Jeff. I think that's a teaching point for lots of defensive back coaches around football now. That's the way they're kind of taught, is to guard them and then rip through the ball. When you see the ball kind of land in their hands and on their chest, you kind of rip through the way. Honestly, Kevin Byard on that touchdown to Kendrick Bourne to start the game, that's just a perfect throw. Yeah. That's pretty impossible to defend. If that throw is on target and the guy makes that catch in the back of the end zone, you tip your cap and say, let's get him next time.
Yeah.
There's not really any defense for that other than pass interference.
All we've ever heard is the quarterback in New England is very accurate.
That's right.
The young guy's proven that.
They don't ask him to do much, but he does exactly what he is asked to do. There's no doubt about it. 615-737-1045, our number. So, Ramon, Tennessee fans today waking up a little bit on edge. Oklahoma loses Lincoln Riley. First time that Oklahoma has had a head coach hired away by somebody else since 1947. Wow. Which is unbelievable. Obviously, Josh Heupel, an Oklahoma legend, led them to a national championship in 2000, a Heisman Trophy runner-up. But the key difference between him and Lane Kiffin is a very, very big contrast. This courtesy of Adam Sparks of the Knoxville News-Sentinel, writing today that if Heupel leaves UT, he would owe Tennessee a buyout of $8 million. When Lane Kiffin left Tennessee on January 12th, his buyout was $800,000.
Chump change.
That's what he paid Tennessee. Now, obviously, $8 million in the grand scheme of things, for as much as he would be paid by Oklahoma if he were to leave, that's not the only thing that would keep him from leaving. The buyout on its own is not enough to stop Josh Heupel from leaving. But I think those wanting to compare the Kiffin and Heupel scenarios, that is a difference. We can talk about, Bob Stoops fired him as their offensive coordinator back in 2014. It was kind of a bad breakup between Heupel and Oklahoma. those are all abstract things that we can't totally quantify because those of us that are outside the know, which is 99.999% of people in the world, basically everyone not named Bob Stoops and Josh Heupel and their families, we don't know how to quantify that exact dynamic. So let's look at what we know, what is tangible, and what we can tell about this situation. And that's the fact that Kiffin was 800,000, Heupel's 8 million.
Yeah.
It's a big difference.
Anything is possible, but
anything at all.
You'd almost feel like there would be more of a conversation specifically about this. You brought up a guy I thought that would be a great replacement for him if it's not too late already.
Joe Brady. Joe Brady should be a college football coach next year because if you don't get him now, he's going to be an NFL coach in a year or two max. And at that point, you can kiss it goodbye.
Yeah. He belonged to the streets at that point. The streets of the NFL.
If I'm LSU, Joe Brady's my guy.
So maybe we can get to this at the top of the hour as far as who's candidates coming up. Cincinnati coach, is he going to leave?
I don't think Luke Fickell's going anywhere.
You don't think Luke's
No,
going?
because they're going to go to the Big 12 in a couple of years.
They're going to the Big 12.
What
and
is
Luke,
the Big 12 still?
Still a Power 5 conference.
Well, yeah, I guess so.
Oklahoma State has a chance at the playoff now after their win over Oklahoma.
Can we bring this question up too?
Let's do it.
Is Lincoln Riley running from smoke?
I was thinking that too.
Good question.
Is he dip, dodging, ducking, and diving away from this?
See, I don't think so, and I'll explain why after the break, because college football coaches aren't real people.
Lizards?
They're not real people.
Androids.
I'm going to explain what I mean with that coming up next. We'll get into Billy Napier, to who is next for LSU, and Lincoln Riley, why he is leaving for USC. I've got a different take on this than I think you all do. Let's get into this coming up next. JMart and Ramon, fourth quarter, 4's up, all across Nashville, Tennessee, powered by all four seasons, and it's 104.5 The Zone.
9:01, good morning. I'm Jonathan Schaefer. The Tennessee Titans dropped their second game in a row, falling to the New England Patriots 36-13. Pats used 20 second-half points to earn their sixth win in a row. Titans rusher 270 yards on the ground. Dontrell Hilliard had a game-high 131 yards, including a 68-yard touchdown.
Delay handoff. Hilliard has the first down 40, 45 50, 45 40, 35 30, 25 20, 15, 10, 5, end zone. Hilliard has just gone 68 yards. Touchdown, Titans.
His teammate Dante Foreman had 109 yards rushing, but the Titans were undone by 4 turnovers, including 3 fumbles lost. The Titans now 8-4. Fortunately, the Colts lost to the Buccaneers 38-31. The Titans still have a 2-game lead in the AFC South over the Colts, including the head-to-head tiebreaker. Nashville SC season came to an end in the conference semifinals last night in Philadelphia. The Boys in Gold lost to the Philadelphia Union 2-0 in penalty kicks after playing to a 1-all tie. MTSU set to play Toledo in the Bahamas Bowl. That's just been announced. Oklahoma's Lincoln Riley will be leaving the Sooners to become the next head coach at USC. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Hoyer, in his 13th year out of Michigan State, takes a knee. Bill Belichick has finally beaten Mike Vrabel. Final score, New England Patriots 36, Tennessee Titans 13.
JMart and Ramon, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors. Final hour of the show. Get your fours up. Fourth quarter underway. Here are the fastest 4 hours in radio. Ramon Foster, Jonathan Schaefer, along with me, Will Boling, as the Titans fall 36-13 to the New England Patriots. Ryan Tannehill, 93 yards through the air. Mac Jones, he was good. 310 yards. Titans ran for 270, had 2 guys over 100, could not get the win, and they were overmatched from the start. 4 more turnovers. The bye week could not have come at a better time, and coming up here in 15 minutes, we will chat with Teresa Walker of the Associated Press and get her biggest takeaways going into the bye week out of the loss in New England. Ramon, you said it all last week. You said it today. There's something different about going to New England and ways that defense manipulates you into feeling a false sense of hope and then just kind of takes your soul in the second half, and that's exactly what they did.
That's exactly what they did. Allowed you to rush for that many yards, which is outside of the things that they normally do. They took away the run game. They made you turn the ball over when you ran the ball also. And in the short red zone, they held you. No scores in the second half for the Titans, man. And, again, it was also coupled with bad tackling on the lone receiving touchdown that the Patriots had. Just not breakups on the ball when it was in your specific area defensively. And getting pressure on the quarterback didn't bode well for Ryan Tannehill. So, again, that conversation about the draft as far as offensive linemen finally hitting you, I think yesterday was a realization that it could be a long road unless, listeners, this offseason you do what the Patriots did. And that's go shopping. Black Friday, Cyber Monday shopping.
It is Cyber Monday today.
For free agency. Mm-hmm. Yeah, in the offseason. Like, that's where you are. You're cyber shopping in this offseason to rebuild. I ain't going to say rebuild this team, but to find some parts that's going to stick.
Matt Judon had a sack on the third play of the game.
He did.
Biggest offseason acquisition probably in the whole NFL this past year.
I mean, I thought Kendall Lamb would play a bigger part in this offense at some point, too. And I know Lawan is back and Questenberry's over on the right side, but he's a utility guy, and I think he's on IR at this point, too, but nothing's stuck. How many games has Julio played?
Oh, Julio was been out for these past 3 on IR. The one game before that, that's 4. I want to say he's played 6 games.
If that, and came out early Kansas City.
Yeah.
If he played Kansas City, longest game he's played in was Seattle.
Yeah. 615-737-1045, our number. Yeah, Julio is a guy that you need to get back. You need to get back in the swing of things. Because, look, you draft a player, you sign a player for the playoff run and for December, January, and hopefully February. Right? When you bring in a guy like Julio Jones, you know that he's not going to give you the efficiency over the course of a 17-game season that he's given the Falcons in his 20s.
Yeah.
Right? You draft him to make a big catch when last season, no disrespect to the guy I'm about to call out, last season against the Ravens on the pass Ryan Tannehill's intercepted on to end the season, he's targeting Khalif Raymond down the field because he's got guys injured. And that right there was circled by Titans fans and by the Titans front office over the entire offseason saying, we can't be targeting Khalif Raymond on a play you have to have on a fourth down in a playoff game at home in order to get a win. You target a guy like Julio. There are some veterans, Ramon, and you know this better than anybody. You bring them in knowing that fans are going to be kind of out on them going into December and going into the postseason. But you didn't sign them for August, September, and October. You signed Julio Jones to win you games in the playoffs and win when it counts.
Yeah.
And that opportunity is still well in reach for him.
It is. And I want you to get to your college take here in a second, too, before the Queen comes on. But I like the Titans being able to release guys when they ask. But Josh Reynolds could be used right now.
Josh Reynolds looked pretty good Thursday.
I
Touchdown pass for the Lions against the Bears. Oh, my.
Again, some of these free agents and draft picks have to start sticking.
Yeah.
Even in my short tenure of covering this team, that's been a common trend, though, too, Will.
Right. 615-737-1045, our number. Before the break, Ramon, we're talking about Tennessee, Oklahoma, and how Josh Heupel could kiffin the Vols, something that we don't see happening this year, but still a concern for Tennessee fans that are really never surprised by anything these days. But you were talking about Lincoln Riley trying to avoid the SEC and going to the Pac-12, saying he didn't want the smoke of the SEC. And my response to that is that I don't think college football coaches are real people. This is what I mean by this. Avoiding the SEC and running away is something a normal person would do. That's a logical decision. Logical. If I'm thinking to myself, all right, I got smoked by every SEC team that I've met in the playoffs. Obviously, Baker Mayfield was close in the Rose Bowl against Georgia.
And if he comes to the SEC and he's on the west side, he's got to see LSU, Alabama, Ole Miss. Yeah.
I don't think college football coaches who are toxic alpha mentality recruiters always being salespeople, I don't think they think like that. Like, I think the young up-and-coming football coach is thinking, no, I'm going to be the one to change that. I'm going to be the one to beat the best coach in the history of college football. And I think instead of him running away from the SEC, this is Lincoln Riley saying, my legacy is going to be bringing back a sleeping giant in USC because my ceiling there is higher than it's going to be somewhere else. I think it's more about having a complete legacy at a place that has been worse, where you are the guy in the last 15 years.
It's an opportunist.
If you go win at LSU, you still are going to a program that won a national championship 2 years ago, and Joe Burrow and Coach O, and there has been success there within the past decade. You go to USC, your legacy is making USC USC again and being Pete Carroll and giving yourself, like Pete Carroll did, a platform to go coach in the NFL from the job at USC. I don't think coaches like this are thinking about what's the worst case scenario if I crash and burn, because people who are always selling themselves, selling their products, selling their programs, they are alpha maniacs that aren't like us. Fair?
Fair. I give you that.
I mean, you were a pro athlete, obviously, so you're kind of not like me either. But
I'm looking at it as
you have been inside these locker rooms more than I have. So if I'm way off here, then tell me.
I don't think you're way off.
Okay.
I can see that point. You made a really good point. I got to give you that one. And saying, look, he can rebuild USC and be invincible.
Right.
From there on out. If he did take the LSU job, you're right. I mean, they've had Les Miles. It's also, Ed Ogeron did it as far as winning natties. That's a great point. I just looked at it as if me saying he's dodging the SEC is there's nobody in the Pac-12. I think the Pac-12 need Lincoln Riley. I hate to say that. I think they need him. So that ego that you speak of is probably what feeds the beast when it comes down to him completing and doing his job.
Sure.
I just find it comical too, all the guys that transferred from us, and I'm not going to knock those kids, but they're coming back to this they're coming back to the SEC, first off, and secondly, your coach left you. So the transfer portal, I'm sure we'll have you on and we can discuss that too, because you're big into it the way I am also as far as. But did you know this, by the way, speaking of that transfer portal and what coaches can and can't do moving forward and what Tennessee should be doing? There's over 2,000. There's over 2,000 student athletes in the transfer portal right now.
It's a crazy amount of supply and demand.
This is what happens when you think that you are the show everywhere you go.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of these guys, I'm sure, are probably, and I was a 3-star. Let me preface by saying that. Guys that were probably last scholarship offers.
3 more stars than me.
I mean, but there were probably, you know what I'm saying, like the last minute offer guys. And they got bad info. And 2,000 players are in the transfer portal right now with nowhere to go. Hard times are real for those dudes, man.
Tyon Evans, one of those, coming from Tennessee again. Guy that had ankle injuries all year, rushed for just around 600 yards, but enters the transfer portal on Friday before Tennessee's win over Vanderbilt. Rumors that Tennessee could be in for Georgia Tech's running back. Not confirmed yet officially either way, but I think that's where Josh Heupel is going to add a lot of the pieces that he is trying to add for next year's team is in the transfer portal.
Yeah, he has to.
He's recruiting there more than he's recruiting high schoolers, at least more successfully.
Yeah, he has. But the Lincoln Riley thing, you make a good point on that one. I just, as far as them not being real people, Ron said he was waiting to see your answer on college coaches aren't real. You saying their ego is more real than the person is.
I just think they are more alpha mentality. It's kind of a toxic alpha mentality.
Yeah.
That normal people like me talking into a microphone can't relate to and can't put themselves in that.
So you're saying a normal person wouldn't tweet out license plate from Louisiana like Lane Kiffin did this past weekend?
More out-of-pocket tweeting this weekend. Vanderbilt football or Lane Kiffin?
Can we say tie?
Yes, we can.
Okay, that's a tie.
We can. Yes! We make the rules here. Lane Kiffin tweeting a Louisiana license plate right after Lincoln Riley left and after Billy Napier left for Florida, which we have not mentioned yet.
And what will be the end results of this from Lane?
From Lane, I think he's either going to Miami or he's staying at Ole Miss.
I don't know, but I can tell Lane what he can do with that golf ball.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Oh God.
I don't even want to speculate what your mind takes. But it'll probably
2
be
words, transfer portal.
Well, yeah. It'll probably be transfer portal phrasing. It'll probably be a pay raise. It'll be a pay raise. But
he's going to get paid. Heupel's going to get paid too by Tennessee.
Because of the want and need.
Absolutely. Supply and demand. Makes the world go round. Coming up next, we talk with the GOAT, Teresa Walker of the Associated Press, talking Titans, maybe throw in a little bit of reaction from Tennessee and Vanderbilt at the end as well. We'll hit it all. Teresa Walker of the Associated Press coming up next. It's JMart and Ramon, powered by all 4 seasons of 104.5 The Zone.
We're nearing the end of 2021, and it has been a year. I'm sure most of you have experienced and struggled with the supply chain issues due to COVID. I know I have. These days, it's just not easy to get the things you want. But my friends at Two Rivers Ford have some great news. New inventory is coming in every single day. So if you're in the market for a new Ford, make sure to check out TwoRiversFord.com daily and see what's arrived on the lot. If you want someone at Two Rivers Ford to contact you when the vehicle you're looking for comes in, just give them a shout, and they'll make sure you are alerted when it does. The salespeople at Two Rivers Ford don't work on commission, so you never have to worry about them pressuring you. They're there to simply make things easier for you. Also, if you know exactly what vehicle you're looking for and you want to order it, Two Rivers Ford can do that for you too. They now have a built-for-you program where you can order any model, any color with any available features. You can order your Ford today, and it will be delivered to your front door when it is manufactured. There's a reason why my friends at Two Rivers Ford have been doing business for almost 40 years, and that's because they make the customer experience hassle-free, honest, and easy. So, for all things Ford, reach out to the most trusted Ford dealer in Tennessee, my friends at Two Rivers Ford. Two Rivers Ford, powered by Ford, driven by people.
We've lost 2 games in a row. We've lost 2 games in a row. We lost at home, came on the road, and played very competitively for the first half. They're disappointed, and obviously the way that the game went in the second half. A lot of these guys have been grinding through, pushing through. So a lot to do with mental health of just dealing with injuries and dealing with things. This is a good time for us all to reset.
JMart and Ramon, powered by All Four Seasons here on 104.5 The Zone. Ramon Foster and Will Boling back with you. Jonathan Schaefer, our producer, as you hear Mike Vrabel recap a 36-13 loss, the second straight defeat for the Tennessee Titans. Pleased to be joined on the Mark Spain Real Estate Hotline by Teresa Walker, good friend of the show. Teresa, how are you this morning? Good to talk to you.
Well, I'm doing well, far better than the Tennessee Titans. And let's just say that, the fact that this team finally is at the bye is probably the biggest blessing for this team at this very moment.
Yeah. Teresa, I think you're exactly right, because usually Titans fans at this point are kind of grumbling of, no football this weekend. The bye week is boring. You got to do chores around the house and whatnot. But I think Titans fans have never been happier, at least in what I can remember, to have a bye week this weekend. The only way it could have been better is if it came about 2 or 3 weeks ago and not now.
Well, yes, but here's the thing. It's almost like a little preview of Christmas with this bye, because after the bye, there's a couple guys who could maybe be activated before the Jaguars game. We're talking Julio Jones, Dan Cruikshank, and then the next week before they go to Pittsburgh, I think Bud Dupree could be activated by then. And then, then when you get ready for Christmas, the 49ers game, then you could have A.J. Brown coming back potentially. We're almost maybe at a point in the season where, some of these guys start coming back. And, and let's be honest, that's why if you're a Titan fan, you shouldn't be too down. I mean, I know that the final score yesterday was, it looked like a blowout. But let's be honest, in that third quarter, they had a chance. They go down and score. They have a chance to take the lead in the third quarter on the road, and then the turnovers just finally caught up with them. And guys, I mean, there's a reason, no offense to Deontay Foreman and Dontrell Hilliard, as well as they played yesterday, there's a reason guys like that are available in November and October once the NFL season is underway. They have issues there. They're not the perfect running back. So, and we saw those flaws come to bear yesterday. Maybe they were just so excited, having open space to run in like that, the ball security got just a little, but, they now can catch their breath. They can heal up. The prospect of guys coming back, and then, a break here for the coaching staff to do some self-scouting and maybe figure out what's going on, why they haven't gotten a sack out of Jeffrey Simmons or Harold Landry each of the last 2 weeks, ball security, things like that. They can work on the mistakes and the issues that have cropped up with the overwhelming churn. 86 guys have played for this team this year, guys. That's an NFL record by 2. And with the games left, there's a possibility maybe it grows even further. And yet they are 8-4, third in the AFC. I mean, why wouldn't you be in a good mood?
Absolutely right. And talking about Ryan Tannehill, Teresa, we've already had one caller this morning ask if they should draft a quarterback coming up this year. People are going to do a lot of box score scouting and see, hey, 93 yards, the interception again. Ryan Tannehill, this was more of the same from him from last week. But Teresa, he completes his first 8 passes. He was efficient in the first half, and then something changed in that second half as the Titans kind of had to throw the ball downfield and force more throws in the second half. I felt like Ryan Tannehill, aside from one interception and maybe up until that interception, played well enough for the Titans to win this game based on the way they ran the football. What did you make of his performance yesterday?
It was a good performance. Did it go off the rails? Sure, but no offense, but did you see who he's throwing to?
Right.
It's great to have chemistry with a guy like Cody Hollister in August. It's a far different thing to be trying to complete passes to Cody Hollister, et cetera. These guys, Des Fitzpatrick, guys, out of the receivers yesterday, was the only receiver available yesterday who was actually drafted by this team, okay? Nick Westbrook-Akina, as much as he's developed and grown and has become a really nice, impressive receiver, no offense, but, he's not your starter. He wasn't your starter a month ago. He became your starter through attrition. And, at a certain point, you can only, it's tough to elevate some of the guys that you're working with. No offense to these guys. I mean, they went out and did their very best. And, Nick Westbrook-Akina, Chester Rogers, I mean, yes. Should, Ryan Tannehill have thrown a couple better balls yesterday? Yeah. But that's the one thing. It's easy enough to say, well, that ball should have been thrown here.
Yeah.
How do we not know that maybe the spot the receiver was running to was off? Maybe it was the receiver who was to blame. Maybe it's both sides of this. So, Ryan Tannehill's numbers are not what they were last year, without a doubt. But, trust me, people over in that building understand what Ryan Tannehill is doing for this team. This is one of those seasons where the biggest number was the fact that they got to 8 wins before anybody else in the AFC, and they did hold the AFC's top seed there for a couple of weeks, in large part because of what Ryan Tannehill was doing. Yesterday, the offensive line really stepped up and helped Mo through that game and give him a hand. But we can't forget the fact that, he's been sacked, I haven't checked this morning's numbers, but he's been at the top as the most sacked quarterback for much of this season. The turnovers are absolutely there. He's had more than, I think he's close to having more through these this season than the last 2 years combined. So, are numbers different? Yeah. Is quarterback an area that they're going to have to look at in the offseason? Sure. But there's also, depth at right tackle, cornerback, linebacker, you name it. So, they're going to be fighting for those positions as well to figure out which is the big priority to fill. And for people saying, just go get a new quarterback, have you noticed the NFL, how many people have gone to the quarterback store and there's nobody there on the shelves?
Yeah. So Teresa, I wish you hadn't asked, how many times he's been sacked, because I actually had it pulled up. It's 33 times right now. It's number 1 in the league as far as sacks given up. And, of course, some of those might be run out of bounds plays, which I hate as an offensive lineman. But right now they're sitting at 33 sacks for the year as far as his offense goes. With that, though, this Titans team is 8-4. Really good position to be in. But as we look at the rest of the schedule, some of these teams are starting to actually kind of tick up a little bit. Of course, I don't necessarily mean like the Jags, but you got to look at the Steelers game in San Francisco and Miami game. You got to say to yourself, how confident are you still in as far as winning these games? Do you have the same feeling that you had a couple weeks ago when it comes down to the rest of this schedule?
Well, Ramon, that's a great question because, the 49ers are showing sure signs of life. So are the Miami Dolphins.
Yeah.
I might point to who they've played as well. I mean, Miami took advantage of a team yesterday. I mean, did you see Cam Newton's numbers?
Well, yeah, he got benched.
Yeah. Yeah, that 6.7 passer rating, that got him pulled in that game, that was just ugly. The thing that I have more confidence in is the fact that this team seems to be on target, knock on wood, throw the salt over your shoulder, of potentially healing up down the stretch. Yes, we don't have any clue about Derrick Henry, but what we saw yesterday, this team could run the ball. That whole identity of being able to run the ball, and got to feel fairly confident that once you start getting a Julio Jones back, a A.J. Brown back, and then Nick Westbrook-Akina becomes your, and Chester Rogers are your third and fourth options rather than 1, 2, and 3, then your pass game is going to be able to do a little bit better. And guess what? The more that they run the ball like they did yesterday, guess what? That's going to give a little bit more breathing room up in the pass game because they're going to be focusing more on your run game. It's like they can still run it. Derrick Henry's not back there, but they can still do it. We got, they may not put a ninth guy in the box, but they're certainly going to be giving more attention to that. So, is the stretch tougher? Sure. But you know what? The Titans, if they heal up, I mean, think about this. The coaching staff put together a plan. We're going to go up there and we're going to mostly run the ball against the number 1 scoring defense. And they did it, and they did it very, very well with a banged-up roster. So give this time, give this whole organization a chance to heal up, maybe self-scout, do some fine-tuning of things. And biggest thing is heal up, guys. This team, they've got essentially a 3-game lead in the AFC South toward, defending that title, having a home playoff game. And, then we'll worry about in January about what that whole home playoff game means. But they're still in fairly decent position. It's not suddenly throw your jersey off and stomp off and get ready for curling season at the Olympics.
Yeah. As far as this team goes going into this bye week, though, who or what position you need to step up more than anything? And of course, the easiest answer to say is Ryan Tannehill because, like I said, I think it's 14 touchdowns, 13 interceptions on the year. But where's another focus point on this team that has to come out of this bye week just off and running?
Well, I'm going to lean toward the offensive line. I mean, they played much better yesterday. Aaron Brewer, his second straight start in place of Nate Davis at right guard. But, we saw them in 2019 get on a run where, people may forget, but in 2019, sacks were a big problem then, and they were just having trouble running the ball. And then all of a sudden things clicked with Ryan Tannehill in the mix as the starting quarterback. So, get that offensive line, protect your quarterback better, give him an extra second to throw, and then, yes, block like you did yesterday when particularly Roger Saffold and Taylor Lewan seemed to be smashing guys down the field. And then second, I'm going to put the defensive line. They've got to get pressure and sacks on the quarterback. We saw how impressive this team was when Harold Landry and Jeffrey Simmons were just going off. And then third, guys, the receiving corps has to be better.
Yeah. No doubt about it. We're talking to Teresa Walker, the Associated Press, here on 104.5 The Zone. Teresa, it feels like the way the Titans beat L.A. is going to be hard to duplicate because now you have a clear identity of what your defense does. And teams are now game planning to stop Harold Landry, to stop Jeffrey Simmons. But to me, the biggest difference was when Bud Dupree went out and Danico Autry had to move outside. That clearly is not his most effective position. The Titans have not replaced what they have in him on the inside when Autry has to move to the outside. Do you feel like that's made a difference in the way this defense is played?
Oh, absolutely. And then think about the fact that, yesterday you didn't have Ola and, Adeniyi. That's how I say it. I know I'm probably butchering the young man's last name, but you didn't have Ola. I mean, and you've got Kevin Strong, I think it was, getting on the field. So, that's another area that's also been kind of quietly hit by injuries that have been easy to ignore because Simmons and Landry have been so very productive already this year. So, we've seen what this line can look like when Autry is in the normal spot where they like him. But, when Bud Dupree gets back, and how ironic that, hopefully he's able to come back and be available on December 19th in Pittsburgh because, that's his team. That's the team that, let him go so they could focus on other guys. And, right now, no offense, Ramon, but Pittsburgh's a little bit of a hot mess right now.
Oh, you can say it. It's all good. I'm a realist about things.
Exactly. So, that's a game that is as daunting as it looked when the schedule came out. It's going to be a tough game because it's the Steelers. It's on the road. But guess what? You just went into New England with, 14 hands tied behind your back because you're playing guys that you just, again, signed a few days ago. You're as thin as you've been all season, and you still were competitive in that game until too many turnovers just put you under the water. So, yeah, I am not one of those who's ready now. I'll caution you guys with this. I am a Cubs fan, so I tend toward optimism. But I do see the pieces of this team that, and reasons to think that they can pull this. It feels like they've crashed into the ditch on a Saturday night after a bender, but, there's reasons to see that they can, pull this thing back out and go where they want, where Titans fans hope they can get to.
It looks like they've crashed into a ditch after a Broadway bender. It looks that bad at times
There
right
you go.
now.
I appreciate it just being a ditch.
Right. Hey, well, Teresa, Mac Jones obviously is going to be the talk of the NFL today, and rightfully so. Career high in yardage for him at 310 yards, 9.7 yards per attempt. It's not a guy they ask to do a whole lot, but he manages this offense so well and just doesn't make a lot of mistakes. What did you make of him and his kind of rookie of the year kind of performance yesterday against this Titans defense?
Well, it was impressive, but did you see how much time he had to sit back there and pick them apart?
Absolutely.
I mean, he was just standing there looking, and he was getting sacked a lot earlier this season, and the Patriots figured out how to protect him. And and he's a kid that he gets the ball out quickly. He can make those decisions and get to his reads. But guys, he had time enough to throw on some of those plays that. Well, my right shoulder's busted. I can't throw anything right now, but I might have been able to complete some of those passes. He had so much time. And if the Patriots keep protecting and giving him that time, then, yeah, he's your offensive rookie of the year.
Teresa, we're going to choose a little bit more pain potentially if you want to. This Oklahoma coaching departure has brought up the conversation of, of course, Josh Heupel and Tennessee and everything else surrounding that. How do you view the college side of what's going on right now with the coaches carousel that's about to happen? And how do you feel about Heupel at Tennessee? Of course, him being an Oklahoma alum, won national championship there, Heisman run-up, all the things that go into that. How are you viewing this situation from your side of it?
Well, I've already received some messages saying, good luck on your upcoming coaching search. But I know that for Tennessee fans, it's got to be shades of, deja vu with Lane Kiffin and USC, while maybe not directly stealing a coach as they did back then, and totally setting this last decade into, you want to talk about a ditch? This is the Grand Canyon that the Vols have been in for the last decade. But here's the good news. The buyout for Josh Heupel's contract is at $8 million. Now, are there a lot of rich people in Oklahoma who could write that check without a blink? Sure. But is that his home? Absolutely. But, so at this point, it's college football, guys. I wish I could say nothing's going to happen. He's going to be the Tennessee Vols coach next season. But, the one thing we've learned is nothing can, anything you can imagine can happen, because it simply does. So I'm going to keep my fingers crossed. Got to think Danny White is trying to figure out what to do to make sure that this job remains more attractive than anything else right now. But, guys, I'd like to say that, no, he's going to stay here because of that buyout. $8 million is not inconsequential. But let's just stay tuned.
Teresa, quickly on the way out, Vanderbilt's season ending with the loss to Tennessee, kind of over they were better than my expectations against Tennessee in kind of a sleepy environment in Neyland Stadium on Saturday. How do you evaluate Clark Lee after this first season? How do you evaluate that performance to end that season? And Team 1, that Vanderbilt is calling it, on Saturday against the Vols?
I would like to see Vandy and those coaches be that aggressive maybe from the start of next season. What they did against Ole Miss and Tennessee to keep those games close, to give, to squeeze out more offense than they'd had all season. And while I know he keeps saying Ken Seals is the starter over there, what we saw out of Mike Wright these last 2 games, I don't know how you don't open that competition back up. Mike Wright is a guy who can run and throw. Seals may be a more polished passer, sure. But hello, it's 2021, about to be 22. The game is changed. You look how effective Hendon Hooker is, Matt Corral. I mean, being able to run is a huge help for your offense. But and I'll just say this: Vanderbilt, he took over a program that they're going to have to be patient. Okay, I know they're hoping to start breaking ground in 2022 on the whole thing to get the stadium improvements going. But the football program, you're going to have to be even more patient because, no offense, but Derek Mason left. It's not the program Derek Mason took over from James Franklin. It is sure not the program that James Franklin took over from Bobby Johnson. It's a lot closer to what Bobby Johnson took over from Woody Woodenhofer.
Teresa Walker has been our guest here on JMart and Ramon. You can find her on Twitter at Teresa M. Walker. Always appreciate the time, Teresa. Good to talk to you.
Sounds good. Thanks, guys.
All right, Teresa Walker on the Mark Spain Real Estate Hotline. When we come back, we finish out the show, and I'll tell you more about what I'm doing the rest of the week. This is my last time on this show this week.
We think
Jonathan Schaefer might cut my mic off.
We do not care.
Wow. Okay. Well, maybe I'll just walk out of the studio. Find out if I'm here next on 104.5 The Zone.
Damn.
Final hour of the show here on 104.5 The Zone. It is JMart and Ramon, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors. Fun show. I've enjoyed hanging out with you, hanging out with Ramon Foster, and occasionally Jonathan Schaefer. Will Bowling back in for JMart.
You, Aaron Rodgers.
Thank you.
He said thank you.
Lots of reaction. Tennessee and New England.
Yeah.
Vols beat up on Vandy. We got our one Vandy call. It's one more than I expected.
You asked for all the fans to call in.
I did.
And they did.
They'll tweet me last week on Thanksgiving, but they won't call in.
It's
Wonder why.
easier to be tougher behind the keys.
So I will be the Will Bowling Show, Tuesday through Friday, 10 to 1, rest of the week.
Hey, now.
Sit on it and spin.
That's correct. The lineup for this week, me and Kayla Anderson coming up tomorrow after hosting with Shafe and I Wednesday.
What, Kayla all week?
On Tuesday.
Oh, it's tomorrow.
Tuesday. Wednesday, it'll be me and Austin Stanley.
Hey, now.
A to Z Sports. Thursday and Friday, it becomes me and Lucas Penzi.
I knew it.
Yep.
The dynamic duo.
Yes, sir.
This shy ain't no joke.
I still am so confused as to how you got that. So confused.
I'm not good.
He's a magician.
How's bragging camp, Schaefer? Who's that?
Wesley Woodyard.
Oh, okay.
Lumberjack. Yeah.
Lumberjack's got a nice little falsetto.
It was a nice little falsetto, huh?
I'm logging off of my life right now.
That's after we beat Kentucky.
Yep.
Oh, so that's Woodyard too. I thought that was just a caller.
No.
How you know?
That was Ola.
Some little breaking news per Adam Schefter. No Tennessee fans isn't about Josh Heupel leaving.
Whew, made me do the Denzel GIF. Whew.
Well, the last time a Tennessee coach left was when I was on the air, actually. Now that I say that.
Leave, Will. Since you've been here, the Titans have lost 2.
Flex.
You sound like every girl I've ever dated. Cowboys head coach Mike McCarthy. Cowboys head coach Mike McCarthy out for Thursday's game due to testing positive for COVID.
I've told you not to be self-deprecating. The problem is that's a fact.
The Cowboys are going through it right now. Did y'all see some of the reaction video?
Really hurtful. No, I didn't.
The reaction video is the Cowboys fans losing.
Oh.
It was one little kid, man.
Sure,
I
took
saw.
that well.
He just kept saying over and over, I hate the Raiders. And I'm thinking to myself, the Raiders had nothing to do with your hell. It was one dude that it was a Thanksgiving, of course, the Thanksgiving game. One guy told somebody that invited him over that the Cowboys lost, so your food stinks. You're not a good cook. You need to stick to doing hair. It got bad.
Oh, wow.
Cowboys fans, when they lose in prime time.
They always take it well.
Whew.
It's good content for us.
Yeah.
Great content for us.
And he took his wine that he brought. He took the bottle of wine that he brought to the Thanksgiving dinner.
There were way too many Cowboys fans in Knoxville going to UT.
Was it really?
Yeah, but there's a lot of Cowboys fans in this region. There's a lot of Steelers fans.
I've got a buddy I ran track with at Tennessee. He would love that I'm flaming him right now. Tennessee football fan, North Carolina basketball fan, New York Yankees fan, Dallas Cowboys fan. That's a real person. One of my best friends, actually.
I mean, do we got to go through JMart's teams?
I mean, let's be real.
Hey, big win for his Broncos yesterday.
That was a good win for them. That was. For them, it was a good win.
My brother was a Utah Jazz fan growing up.
Never heard anybody
Utah
say that.
Jazz fan.
Karl Malone, John
growing up
Stockton.
in Nashville.
I mean, in the
Mark
90s.
Eaton, baby.
In the 90s, yeah.
Jeff Hornacek.
My NBA team's whoever plays the Grizzlies. I'm just kidding. No, I'm a
Your
Hawks
hate
fan.
from Memphis. You and Slay have to get on the air and work this out someday.
No, we're just going to make it bigger.
Oh, that's true.
Coming up
ZH
December
is just
18th, man. Slay and I are going to have a day downtown Nashville.
Okay. Oh, that's right, because Memphis coming to town.
Well, I'll be in
Congratulations
chat this
to
weekend too.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right. Little TWA state championships. The game we had Friday, by the way,
Bonkers.
52-56.
Wowzers.
Page was down 17 3 times. Congratulations to Fred J. Page High School. Headed to the state title for the first time ever.
Against Powell?
Yes, against Walter Nolan and Powell.
By the way, that team, of course, I've been doing my research on those. They got like four stars on that team, it feels like.
VFL
along with
Marlon
him.
Walls, defensive coordinator.
Is he really? Marlon's there?
Mm-hmm.
At
That's
Powell?
why Walter Nolan went there.
Sure, and don't get me started. Okay, but yeah.
Because he was his coach, I believe, at St. Benedict.
Yeah,
And
he
he
was.
moved from St. Benedict to Powell. And that's Walter Nolan wasn't moving to Knoxville because he wanted to go to UT. He was moving to Knoxville to play for Marlon Walls.
Also, I'll be covering the Hampton and Martin Westview game.
You and me both, brother.
Me and you, yeah, and Babs. I'm doing it with Don
and Lucas.
Davenport and Lucas.
So we've got there's 2 different broadcasts of Ty Simpson's state championship game, and 4 people from 104.5 The Zone will be broadcasting.
And what are those 4 people? Well, no, yeah, well, Ron will be there too. 5.
There you go.
He might be in the booth. I don't know if he's
There you
going to
go.
be broadcasting it, but
perfect.
Also, all UT people covering this Alabama kid.
Sir.
If he's in the booth,
And
that
one
booth
Auburn.
ain't got no roof.
That roof been gone.
Booth ain't got no roof.
This Hampton
It's
team.
my turn.
Yeah, straight up. That Hampton team is pretty good. Hampton is like in the middle of like East Tennessee mountains, man.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the area, the region. They actually get covered, I think, by Bristol News because they're so close to Tri-Cities, I
Up
guess.
there near Elizabethton.
Yeah.
Another team that is heading to the state title, coached by Jason Witten's brother, Sean.
Yeah, Sean, shout out to him, man.
4A state title.
Yeah, nice.
Yes, sir.
There's some good matchups this weekend, though, as
Really
far
good.
as
Really
state
good.
championship games here in the state. A lot of big prospects, too, Will.
Oakland and Summit is going to be terrific.
Wow.
And we've seen Summit twice this year.
Mhm.
Oakland, number 9 in the country, according to USA Today. I think Summit might win that game.
Summit might win it.
Destin and Keaton Wade are as good as I've seen. Destin Wade, their quarterback, has rushed for over 2,000 yards.
Wow.
So there's your little high school football minute. Coming up for the week.
I know they
More like
gave
3
it to
minutes.
Hendersonville High this weekend.
Yeah, they did.
I was on TV. I saw part of that.
Yeah.
Been a fun show.
Yes.
Enjoyed hanging out with you. Enjoyed hanging out with the fam here on JMart and Ramon. Back at it tomorrow at 6 a.m. Top 7 and bottom 3 in the NFL. Ramon Foster will give you all of the analysis you need for that. Enjoyed it. Appreciate y'all having me. Buck Rising Show is coming up next. That becomes the Will Bowling Show starting tomorrow. Fun times. Ramon, tell the people what they need to know.
And, well, one thing, your team, the Titans, are still 8-4. The Vols are 7-5. You're above 500. But never forget, Twitter fingers and your mic are always hot.
I can feel it all the way down in my plums.